Hello, everyone. Welcome to the closing playbook for Friday, October 10th, 2025, 10:10. Sounds like everybody's having a little bit better of a day than they did yesterday. Let's see what we got going on here. Messing around with this a little bit. All right. Well, we're going to have a little bit of a different session today because you have got me and only me. So we are still going to try and cover all the things that are normally covered, and I have a presentation of my own to go through with you. So let's see what we are going to cover here today. We're going to review the Shotgun Thursday trades. We're going to take some live trades out of the income machine. We're going to do a bit of a lesson on soft skills for traders. If you don't know what that means, stick around, find out. And then for those of you who don't have the income machine, we'll give you a chance to get into it for free. So that will be our Friday. Hello, everybody in the chat. Lots of people here nice and early. James, Sharita, Sherry, Rosalie, Sam, John, Sam, Ted, Susan, Paul, Cindy Lou, Tim, Andy, Jan. Too many to name. Love seeing everybody in here. Hope you're having a good Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. All right. Let's not waste too much time on pleasantries. Let's get a little bit into the action here. All right. We're going to start off looking at our Shotgun Thursday trades. Let's do that real quick. Let me do this. Share that screen. As this is the first time I am covering for all of Nathan and Graham's normal activities, bear with me to give me just a little bit of grace here in fumbling through it. And hopefully we will have a great session. All right, let me share this screen. All right, so just taking a quick look at the trade doc from the opening playbook members area. These are the trades that we took on Thursday. And we're going to take a look at them in the live doc here. Let me refresh this. So this is just a small account that I play around with here. We're just going to use this to take a look at the tickers. So we had for Shotgun, we had Oracle, CLSK, COST, WULF, AMD, Meta, and NIO. So let's take a quick look at Oracle. We're looking at that to be above 300. Let's see. I'm not actually in the trade, so I can't just pull up like where they're at right now. But I can pull up the actual list of them. So we're looking for Oracle to be above 300. It looks like it's at 293.5. So that one looks like it's going to close out underneath. We shouldn't need to do anything with it, but it's going to be a loss. CLSK was 20 and 20.5. Looking at that, again, we're underneath, well under 20, so that one's going to be a loss. Costco, 932.50 and 935. Oh, that one's actually right in there. So this one is a little bit of a danger zone. So when we're between the strikes like this, we want to make sure that we do not get go to expiration between the strikes. So I'm looking at this one right here. I'm looking at Costco, 932.50, 935, and it's at 934 and change. So what I would do is I would close this out, being that it's after 3:30. I would close this out right now for whatever it's at the market. So I would go to your trade, go to close the trade, whatever kind of the mid price is right now in your platform. I would go ahead and close that out so that you don't get stuck between the strikes. Look at a Wolf. This was a straight call at 14.5. Let's go to that one. That one is below. So that's going to basically expire worthless. Or if you can get a few pennies for it right now, you could try and get out of it. Or you could see if somehow it has a miracle run in the last half hour and gets up to 14. But you might as well just give it a shot because it's probably not worth anything right now anyway. It's not a spread. You don't have to worry about being caught between strikes. It's just a call that you're just not going to exercise. So there's no danger on that one. Let's see. I'll go through these and then I'll take a look at the chat before we move on to the next thing. AMD, another straight call play at 245. AMD, nowhere close. That's going to be a loser. Meta, 732.5 to 735 calls. That is way below. Everything just tanked midday today when the president got in a Twitter war or whatever with China on tariffs. So everything just tanked today. Last one is NIO. This one is next week's expiration. So we really don't have to worry about this one today. This was also a put at $7. So we're looking for it to go below $7. And it is below $7 right now. But with the time that's on it, I'm not quite sure what it's worth. That's probably something where you want to stay in it until next week. But that's up to you. So really, it seems like the only one we really need to close is Costco, if I remember what I said correctly. Yeah. It's between the strikes on Costco. That's the only one you really need to close right now. So go ahead and close that out. And let me take a look at the strikes. The chat. Let me take a quick look what we got here. All right. Yeah, it was doing great till the president killed the vibe. Well, I wouldn't necessarily blame it squarely on him. I'm not a defender necessarily of his, but I would say for sure it's kind of the overall tariff situation and the issue with China. All right. We won't get into that. Today would be a great day to pick up some 4-week out income machine recommendations. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Let's see. Yeah, AMD pretty much pooped out before Trump did anything with China. So that is not really on the tariffs. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, James. All right. It would be nice if Graham knew exactly when Trump was gonna make announcements that were going to throw the market. The markets seem to have been generally, I think, resilient to, for lack of a better way to put it, kind of Trump tweets or Trump news, Truth Social, and all that. But a trade war with China and all that's pretty big, and it was not a polite back and forth. So we'll see. All right. Taco Friday. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay. I'm going to try and zoom in a bit on the screen to make it better for you. Let's see if we can do that. How is that? That should be better for you. You should at least be able to see a little better here. And I can collapse this too a little bit. That should be a little bit easier to see. All right. All right. So, yeah, I think that with everything down right now, this is a good opportunity to get into some stuff, and we'll use the income machine to do that. Francine, you were asking about telegrams. So the telegrams for our crew, so to speak, the new money crew, the 3 guys that are in this room every day, Lance, Nathan, and Graham, those are down below in the announcements. So, and I did a little bit of work to clean those up and make it a little bit easier to find things since they were getting to be such a long list. It's actually Graham's idea. Said the list is getting a little a little out of control. And I said, all right, I'll take care of it. So hopefully that looks a little better to you down there, and you can find things a little bit more easily. But yeah, so there's several Telegram links down there, one for Lance, one for uh, Nate, one for Graham, one for the new Money Crew channel that Stephen Ground launched when we did the trivia night, where we're going to be following him as a relatively new trader, and he's going to be giving out trade recs from the pros as well. And then there's the live trading events one, where you can find out about what's happening every day that are free live events for you to take, not just from our crew, but from the whole company worth of traders that we have going on in live events. So those are all the Telegram links down there. Now, if you're looking for more, if you're looking for Alex's, Jeffrey's, Kane's, everybody else's, I'd have to put all that together. But I can do that. That's something we can make happen. But before we go too much into that stuff, I know we are limited on time with the trading. So let me get right into Income Machine, and let's refresh the Income Machine. So for those of you who are not familiar, the Income Machine is essentially an automated tool that Nathan built that is checking for us on 5 different criteria for stocks to meet. And it automatically shows you whichever ones have met the most, whichever ones have the kind of best opportunities right now up here. Now, this is the kind of standard version of the Income Machine. There is also a VIP version that gives you a little bit more functionality, but this is a standard one. And the top 3, you can see this one right here, Nextra Energy. That one has 4 out of the 5 criteria met. Being that that's the first one on the list, that means none of the stocks right now are meeting all 5. So the best we could do right now is 4 out of 5. Nathan will actually trade anything that's 3 out of 5 and up, but he might scale his trade a little bit depending upon how many of those criteria it has met. Here's another one that met 4 out of 5. Johnson & Johnson, probably familiar with that one. And we've all heard of AMD. We actually had that in our list of shotgun trades, but this one's only 3 for 5 on the scorecard there. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to go ahead, click choose opportunity. This is also a little bit of a dive into this for those of you who aren't familiar with it, or for those of you who just joined and maybe haven't really used it yet. It gives you a nice kind of breakdown of what sectors it's in, description of the stock. It gives you a breakdown of the criteria that it met. So it met a long-term and a short-term trend, the weekly momentum and the stabilizing criteria, but it's not in a snapback position right now. And if you want to know what all those things mean, you know, as part of the program, he goes through all that in the training. So we're not going to go too deep into that right now. This is an excellent quality opportunity according to the analysis here, and we can click explore strategy to see the actual trade recommendations. Now, with the Income Machine, it's going to give us up to 3. It'll usually give us 3, but occasionally it can't find a good match for all 3. It'll give us 3 different kind of risk profiles that we can use to do that. Now, it's running through thousands of option combinations right now, which is why it takes a minute. But here we go, and hopefully you can see this pretty well on the screen share. Sorry, give me one second here. So we have 3 different trade opportunities. We have a conservative one that's called balanced, where basically it's kind of midway between conservative and aggressive. Now, you'll notice with this that with the Income Machine and with the 3 different risk levels, pretty consistently what you'll see is that conservative means we're going further out. In other words, we're giving the options we're going to select are going to be further out, giving us more time for it to hit our target. Balanced will be less, and aggressive will be even less than that. And then we're going for a smaller ROI, even though we're giving it more time. That's how we go. You know, we give it more time and we shoot for a lower target. That's the most conservative. Then we give it kind of a middle amount of time and shoot for a middle target. That's your balanced. And then we give it the least amount of time and simultaneously go for the most amount of money. And that's your most aggressive. So you can play these however you want. And it tells you right here kind of like what your ROI is going to be, what your trade width is, what the expiration dates are, and so on. And you can pick any one of these to look at and see, well, what exactly would the strategy suggest. So I'm going to do the conservative one, being that the market's been a bit of a jerk this week, and today in particular. I'm going to go with conservative, and it basically breaks the whole thing down for you. It's going to be a call spread. It's always bullish. We're always going up with the income machine. It's a $70 and $75 are going to be the strike prices. So it's going to be a $5 width. And it tells you exactly what the trade construction is. We're going to buy the NEE. Let me make this even bigger for you since it's smaller than what was there before. We're going to buy NEE. That's the ticker. We're going to buy the $70 call, and we're going to sell the $75 call. And you can see here the expiration is November 21st. 2025. So that's our expiration. These are our buy and sell strikes. This is what it should cost, roughly 457. And you can see down here what our expected return is if it stays flat, if it goes up 1%, 2.5%, 5%, 10%, if it goes down 1%, 2.5%, 5%, 10%. Now, because we took a conservative trade, we're getting green lights across this entire board. We literally win if it goes anywhere within 10% up or 10% down. So that's what conservative does for us. Now, we can adjust here and say, okay, let's say we can't get a fill for 457 and we can only get a fill for 460. What happens then? We're still green, and we can play around with this. But what it was suggesting was 457. Our total investment, if we bought one contract, would be $457 because it's 100 at a time. Our income potential is $43, and that's a 9.4% return on our risk. So this investment amount, this 457, that's our risk. Roughly 10% of that would be $45. So we can ballpark that and say, okay, $43 is just under 10% return on that investment. And so I'm going to drop this in the chat so that you can take this if you want to. This is going to be I'm going to double check so I don't mess it up. This is going to be the 2025 11/21 expiration. And you're looking for about a 9.5% return, 9.4% return. So there you go. So we have 41 days to expiration. You'll break even if the stock is at 74.57. Anything above that at expiration, and you're making money. Any questions about all that? Let me take a quick look in the chat since it's just me and I'm doing it all. I can't do it all at one time. Phil, it varies, on what the percent profit is for each one. Like conservative, balanced, and aggressive won't always be the same percentages. It's going to depend on what it can find with the current pricing in the option chains. So it's always going to be, most ROI on aggressive, least on conservative, but exactly the percentages, they're going to vary, not just from ticker to ticker, but literally from hour to hour. It's going to change. So CTSY, so they're in the NE conservative trade already at 445. Yeah, so we're getting it we're paying a few cents more than you guys got in it earlier, but still plenty of profit potential if we want it. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to type in here. If you guys, of course, are not going to hear me, but if you have sound or video problems, refresh. This is the same thing we see every day. Refresh the browser. Sheen, it is not a covered call. So what these are vertical debit spreads. So if you don't know how to enter that in your platform, I can show you. So we are going to go to, I got to refresh this. Hold on a second. I can show you how to do this in the platform. So we're going to go to NEE. When I load back up. Okay. We're going to go to NEE. we're going to find the 11/21 right here, 11/21 expiration date. And then each broker will have something a little different than this. But what you want to find is you want to find the vertical trade and you want to be long on calls. And when you hit that, it's going to automatically select for you a buy and a sell strike price. Now we were buying the 70 and selling the 75. So I need to move these uh, way down here. And you'll notice that these are $2.50 apart on the strikes. So we're actually going two strikes apart on this particular trade. It was 70 and 75. So we're buying. Make sure you're on the call side, which is always the left side. You see calls and puts. And let me see if I can collapse this here. A little further. No. Okay. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Okay. So you've got calls here and puts here. You want to make sure you're on the call side. You're buying the 70, you're selling the 75. And we talked about a 457 debit on that. So down here you can see 457. You could try and get in it for less. You could try and get in it for that amount. Now you could, because what I would generally do is make these for the day. I don't like my entries to go more than a day, so I just leave them in here good for the day, and then you would hit review and send. I'm not going to take this trade because this small account that I'm in right here just doesn't have a whole lot of money to play around with, and I want to be able to show you the other trades we're going to take. So any questions on that? So this is a vertical debit spread. You need to do it all. You need to do both the buy and the sell in one exchange, in one order. All right. So we're going to move on to the next one. If nobody has any questions about that, let me go back to the income machine. We'll grab one or two more trades in the last 10 minutes here. We'll go back to the scoreboard, get an updated scan. All right. So NEE still here, Johnson & Johnson. Now we have Merck here instead of AMD, but I'm going to go with J&J because it has more of the criteria met. And this time, in particular, because it's J&J and it's healthcare, and healthcare is strong right now, I'm going to go balanced instead of conservative on this one. But we have basically the same setup as we did with the other one as far as the criteria and everything like that. Yeah, Kelly, it's a vertical call debit spread. It's vertical because the way we're doing the spread is the same ticker, the same expiration, but a difference in strikes. That makes it vertical. It's a debit because we're buying the more expensive one and selling the less expensive one. So we wind up paying up front like you do when you buy something, and then we want to sell it back for less or exit out of it for less and make money. And then I'm sorry, you want it to be worth more when you exit out of it. You want it to be worth more when you exit out of it than when you buy it. So you're buying something for $1, you want it to be worth $2 when you exit it, and you get the difference. So it's vertical because we're changing the strikes. It's a debit because we're paying for it when we enter it, as opposed to getting money and a credit when we enter it. And it's calls because we're using calls. Okay. So in doing the scan, it could not find any option combinations that met the criteria right now. I don't know if things are just moving real quickly or what, but it just couldn't find it. So let's take a quick look at Merck. Again, only 3 out of the 5 criteria. It's good quality, not excellent quality. This also gives you stuff where you can look at the chart and things like that. We know everything is freaking down right now. We don't need to look at the chart to know that. Yeah, so there are targets on these. So you're going for about a 9.5 or percent gain on the one that we were in. So we were in it at 457. I'm off the screen now, so I didn't look at what the target was, but I can show you. So we got in at 457, and we're shooting for a 9% gain. Um, that would be our max ROI. So if you want to let it run to expiration, that's when you would get that 9.5% ROI. But if you want to set a target to get out early with a little bit less profit, but a little higher chance of winning, then you could do that. And we usually set about a 90%. So if we were originally going to get a 9.4% ROI and we want to set an early target for that at 90% of that, then we're looking at an 8.4, 8.5% ROI. So if we multiply that, we add 1 and we multiply that by our entry price, then we'd be selling at $4.95 to get out early. So you can set an early target for $9.45, or you can, on the one that we took on NEE, you can set an early profit target at $4.95, or you can let it ride. So James, yeah, so you're for one contract, it's $457 or $455 if that's what you got it for. For 10 contracts, it would be $45.50, and you'd be making let's say roughly 9 or 10% of that. So it would be a little less than 500. It would be closer to like 425 or 450. But yes, you're approximately right. Let's see. Okay. So going back to this, let's go back to, oh, sorry, I was there and I forgot what I was doing. Let's go back to Merck. Yeah, you can put your own tickers in if you have the VIP version. I'm trying to use the regular version just to show people what they can do with it, even if they don't have the VIP. And this gives you the top 3. The VIP version gives you like the top 20. But the top 3 of these 3 would be the top 3 out of the 20. So you're getting the best of them with the standard version. You are getting more of them to take with the VIP version. Plus, with the VIP version, you can put in your own ticker and have it pick the spread for you and all that. So the only thing it's coming up with for Merck right this minute is an aggressive trade. I'll give you that so you have it if you want to take it. So this is going to be an expiration on Merck. Get that in the chat for you. And it's going to be buying the 81 call and selling the 86 call with a net debit of 366. That's what you're paying for it. And your ROI potential is 36.8%. So that is pretty significant, and that's in under 2 weeks. But again, this is aggressive, which means that we're not going to win in as many situations as we did on that first one. So if it goes up, we're good. It can only go down 1% and us still claim a profit. Anything beyond that, it's going to be against us. So this is, riskier than the conservative one we took on NEE, but obviously you're going to be in it for less time and you have a much higher potential profit. So if you want to take that, I put that in the chat there as well. And no, we didn't do J&J, Gina. I appreciate you giving me the grace there, but no, we didn't, because it didn't come up with any trades. It couldn't find a good options pairing. All right, so let's go into the platform and let's see how we would do this one. It's obviously going to be very similar in structure. We're going to look for Merck. We're going to look for it's a different expiration now on this one. We're at October 24th on this one. It's aggressive, so it's much sooner. We're still looking at calls. We're still looking at a vertical long call debit spread. So I'm going to hit the little arrow. It's going to automatically grab a buy and a sell call, and we're going to adjust it to the 81.86. Sorry. Yeah, that's correct. 81.86. So you can see these are dollar differences between these strikes. We're going $5 apart here. So we're buying the 81 call. We're selling the 86 call. We needed to go above 86 to make money on this. Right now, it's at exactly 86. So the way that the income machine works is that they're almost always defensive trades. The aggressive ones are going to be a little closer to like right at the money, and the more conservative ones are going to be a little more already in the money. So this is right at the money right now. And that's what you're going to do. So it's going to be, we only got a few seconds left here. So go ahead and execute this trade if you want it. We're looking for about a 350 to 365 debit right here. And there's the bell. All right. Thanks for the countdown, guys. Let me edit these. And like I said, I'm kind of new at doing all aspects of this completely on my own, but I appreciate the grace you're giving me here. Let's do this. This one is going to be aggressive, and just updating what we had earlier. That one was aggressive. This one is going to be conservative. I'll copy them down to the bottom in a new post. Let's do that. This one is going to be conservative, and then this one is going to be aggressive, and I'll get these in the trade tracker in the opening playbook members area as well. All right, so those were the two trades that we took. Thanks, Sheepdog. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're going to move on from this, unless anybody has any questions about these trades before we move on. I'll give you a minute here to ask any questions about this, but we're also going to give you, for those that are not in the income machine, give you an opportunity to get into it for free at the very end of the session. Yeah, I'm missing Nate and Graham. I know. Me too. Sorry. They hung me out to dry, having to report all the losers, right, Phil? So sorry about that, but I didn't pick them. There's that. All right. So what I wanted to go over with you guys today is, is the data live, current data? You're asking if the income machine is pulling current data or live data? Yeah, it is for sure. So the presentation I'm going to do for you guys, it's going to be a little bit geared toward newer traders, but I think there's certainly be something in here for everybody. And if you already know it all, it'll be a nice reminder about a few things that even professional traders need reminding on sometimes. And also, we might expose some resources that we have here that you might not be familiar with. So this should only take a few minutes, and then we'll get into the income machine opportunity. But I call these soft skills. So like in business, right? Your soft, you might be an engineer, or you might be an HR representative, or you might be one of a million different professions. Your soft skills are not your talent in your profession. It's the things that make you better at doing it overall, like your communication skills and your positive attitude and your ability to handle stress and working under pressure. All those different things are soft skills. How well do you interact with others, and how do you do all these other things? So for a trader, what would the soft skills be? The soft skills for me are understanding the psychology that you need to be a good trader, and understanding the steps needed to responsibly work your way through from somebody who's never traded before to somebody who feels like they're finally, mastering at least some part of the market. So what we're going to cover today, and this is by no means like all the soft skill stuff that I want to cover at one point with all of you, but what we're going to cover in just this first part of this thing today, first steps. So if you're brand new and you've never traded before, that'll be for you. Just a very, very brief review of the different types of assets and trades, and kind of how we talk about it in our programs and in opening and closing playbook, and just as a group, kind of what we mean when we talk about certain things. What I think is the most important part of today is the psychology of a good trader, and then some of the services that our company has. Markets PG is kind of the umbrella company for all of our different brands, and that's, we offer just a wide variety of services. We'll cover just a few of them today, and then some ideas that I have for future classes like this, but I also want to hear from you as well as what you want to see in some of these trainings. So first steps, if you're a soon-to-be trader or a brand new trader, the first thing I would say you should do is take free-ish training. And I say free-ish because Some of it'll be free, some of it'll be really low cost. Then the next step would be, you need to have a brokerage account if you're going to actually trade anything. We'll talk about doing that. We'll talk about premium trading programs like the ones that Nathan and Graham and all of our other gurus offer, and other people too. Paper before money, we'll figure out what that means in a couple of minutes, and then really kind of expanding from there at your own pace. So when I talk about first steps in freeish training, the very first thing you could start with is completely free programming. So obviously you can find that a number of places online. You can YouTube a bazillion things, but you have to be careful with that because you don't really know what you're getting. So I want to make sure that you know that we have this live events schedule, and every day we're doing all of these shows. So as you can see, the one we're in right now is on this list. You didn't have to pay to get in here. Hopefully we're delivering valuable content on a daily basis. All of these other shows do that as well. And they're all different traders with different perspectives that have different methodologies that review the market in very different ways, that place different types of trades and offer different programs. And what I would suggest is that you sample each of these programs so that you can get a taste of what the different traders are like. Because as you'll see in a couple of minutes, I think an important step in your journey to getting started is picking a guru that kind of feels right to you and following them intently. So the way you can get that is a link that's down in the announcements. So if you scroll down below the presentation, below the chat, you'll see there are a bunch of helpful links there. And the one I have highlighted on the screen is that Telegram sign up for those live trading alerts. Sorry, not alerts, but event alerts to tell you here are the shows for the day. And then as each show is about to start, you'll get the link to join that show. So sign up for that Telegram. And if you're not in Telegram, it's just a messaging app you can install on any of your devices, and you can sign up to get messages in these different channels. So sign up for that live trading events channel, and you'll have access to a wide variety of live free sessions out of our ecosystem of brands and traders and stuff. And you could be watching free stuff from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night if you want to. And obviously, don't overwhelm yourself, but over the course of days and weeks, see what Jeffrey's room is like, see what Roger's room is like, see what the other rooms are like. This one is Nathan and Graham. Some of the other ones have one person, some have two people. Obviously, Nathan and Graham are great, but I'd rather you follow a trader that speaks to you and in a way that you feel is right for you than just give up on it. Because it's important that you feel like someone's speaking your language, so to speak. And that's different for everybody. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be why I called it free-ish training instead of free. We have a $1 membership to the opening playbook. If you're not already in that and you plan on coming to any more of these opening and closing playbook sessions, and honestly, even if you don't, this is a very, very worthwhile dollar to spend. This is a brief overview of what's in that $1 members area. It's going to be a little hard to see because I had to shrink everything down to fit it on the screen. But you've got recorded trainings. You've got a tracking template of all the trades we take in opening closing playbook. You've got a template to use to track your own trades. And that's one of the topics I want to get to in the future is kind of how do you keep track of all your stuff. We've got copies of slide decks that have been used for our presentations. One of the most valuable things is the opening playbook debit spread target assistant, which is a really fancy way of calling it a calculator, but it's a really cool calculator for doing spreads. There are master classes on wrap orders and automated options. There are replays in here. There's code to install on your platforms. There's all kinds of stuff in here. In addition to the fact that this gets you all the things, that $1 gets you all the things on the screen for life. It's a lifetime membership for $1. It also gives you access to other areas of our members area that are free, but you have to be a member of something to get them. So, for example, we had Roger Scott on in opening playbook this morning. He did a great job If you want to get into his free resources, you have to have bought something. Well, this $1 opening playbook is our way of kind of giving you as close to a free pass as we can give you into our members area. There are actually 3 areas of the members area that you get for this dollar. You get the opening playbook, you get Roger Scott's VIP trade room members area, and you get something called the trading toolbox. And what that does is gives you a whole 18-part course to introduce you to trading, stocks, options, terminology, all that kind of stuff. So you get all of that for that dollar. So it's a ridiculous small amount of money to spend on that, but you got to spend something to get into the members area. So that dollar is the way to do that. So by all means, go back up to, or go scroll down to this VIP playbook membership. If you're not already a member, I see a question in the chat. How do I know if I'm a member? You go to our one-click trading platform, app.oneclicktrading.com, and log in there. And if you see opening playbook as one of your member programs, then you have it. If you're not sure if you're a member of anything, go to app.oneclicktrading.com and hit forgot password. And if you're a member, it'll send you a password reset email. If you're not, it won't. So you can do that. All right, let's see here. So that's kind of first steps that I would recommend is go to as much free program as you can to try and figure out who you want to follow. Get the opening playbook membership and all the other beginner stuff that comes with it, as well as the trading toolbox. Then it comes time to open a brokerage account. Now, choosing a broker can be difficult when you have no idea the differences between them and what any of it means. Dwayne, you find Roger's room by searching for VIP trade room in the members area. Rip, these links are down below the presentation and chat area. Just scroll down on the page you're looking at right now. Okay. Choosing a broker is tough. It's even tough for people who are already trading and want a different broker and don't know which one to go to. Some of our traders might, say, hey, I recommend this one. Generally, as a company, we don't officially recommend one because it's really up to you. So one reason you might choose a particular broker is you might have another type of account with them. So like you might have accounts with Fidelity, and therefore there are advantages to trading with Fidelity. You can easily move money between accounts and things like that. Another reason would be the fees. Some charge more fees than others. Some charge none, like Robinhood. But the performance usually goes along with the fees. So for example, Robinhood has no fees, but sometimes it can take a little longer and be a little harder to get your orders filled, which means you might not get in or out of every trade exactly when you want to. So there's that. Then there's the interface. Some people just like one interface over the other. And I'm talking about, like what I was looking at before, my trade platform. They all look a little different. For a new person, they're all overwhelmingly complex looking. And so what you need to do is you need to take the training that comes from your broker platform, your brokerage, about their platform on the basics of how to use their platform. Then you come to us for training on how to do our program. We can only spend so much time teaching you how to use Charles Schwab's platform, Tasty Trades platform, E-Trades platform, Fidelity's platform. We just can't spend all that time doing that. Your broker provides you with that training, all these tutorials on their websites. They all do. And then again, how much support they give you and what kind of support they give you. Some have different hours and different quality of support. All those things go into picking the right one for you. And then there are permissions. And this is something that you don't always find out about right away. But a lot of the programs that we have here trade option spreads. And we're going to get into what that means in a minute. But some things you can trade when you open a brokerage account, you automatically get permission to do. And some things you have to request permission to do. And we have a guide on that as well. And I'll give you the link to that in a couple minutes on getting those permissions. But sometimes picking a broker is not a matter of any of the things I just talked about. Sometimes it's just a matter of which one's going to give me the permissions I need with the least amount of fuss. And so there's all of that to consider. And sometimes it's a little trial and error. And it can be frustrating if that's blocking you from starting to trade. So, what I'll tell you is that among our members, Charles Schwab, Tasty Trade, Robinhood, and Fidelity are by far the four most popular. I'd say between those four, it's at least 80% of the people here. That's not to say that there aren't another 10 that people have, but those are by far the four that I see anyway, the most. Now, Robinhood is cheaper than the others, but you'll have a little more trouble getting your orders filled. And they might make you get out of some trades a little sooner than other places if they're going against you. Charles Schwab has a platform called Thinkorswim, and that is hugely popular. Um, but they're not the cheapest. Tasty Trade is about the same price as Charles Schwab, but they seem to give out permissions for the higher level options trades a little bit more easily than Schwab does. And Fidelity is kind of like mid on all of that. Like it seems to be anyway, at least from what I've heard. There you're going to find people that are like, I'm in Fidelity, I love it, and you're going to find people, I'm in Fidelity, I hate it, and you're going to find that for every single one of these. So, you know, you have to do a little bit of research and a little bit of decision making on your own, even though you might be unfamiliar with it. You're not going to go wrong with any of these four. You're not going to be like, oh man, I should never have gotten in that. That it was terrible. You can learn to trade in any of these. Other ones that I would say that's true for also are like Interactive Broker, E-Trade. There are a few other ones as well. So after you choose which broker you're going to get into, you're just going to go to the website. You're going to fill out their application to open an account. I don't know Tradier Trone. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. I don't even know that I've heard feedback about it. So I can't really tell you about Tradier. Sorry. All right. So you're going to open an account. That's as simple as going online, filling out their form like you're registering for just about anything, except they're going to ask for a little bit more information than Gmail will to give you an email address. Then you're going to request the necessary permissions. Now, if you're going to join a program that just trades basic stocks or basic options, you don't actually need to do that. Your necessary permissions are going to come automatically with your account. But if you're in a program that's trading any kind of spreads, then you're going to need to request those permissions. And we have this guide for leveling up your options permissions. And you can find that in the same place as all the other links that I just told you about down below on the page you're on. It says guide to level 2 options because that's what we initially called it, but it's really guide to level 1, 2, 3, and 4 options. It covers all four. So grab that guide if you don't have any more than the entry level permissions in your brokerage account, or if you haven't even opened a brokerage account, grab this so you have it, so that before you go to ask for permissions, read this guide, because many of the brokers don't let you ask for permissions more than once in a period of time. So you want to make that first request you do with them, you want to make it the best way possible. So read that guide before you do it. Now, once you've got that done, the other thing I would suggest you request from your broker is a paper trading account. Now, a paper trading account is a fancy name for a practice account. It lets you essentially use the real platform that you would normally use. It'll act very much like the real thing, but you'll be not using any real money. You'll be just hypothetically entering a trade and hypothetically exiting a trade. And there are some good things about that and some bad things about that, and maybe we'll cover that on another training. But the it can't hurt you to do this. It's only good to do it. There are just some things that when you go from paper trading to real trading that you then need to change your mindset about. But there's nothing wrong with paper trading, and it's a good way to practice before you put real money on the line. We have a video. This is actually, it looks like a brokerage platform, but it's actually a snapshot of a video to show you how to switch back and forth between a real brokerage account and your paper trading account. And that is also down below in the links, how to paper trade. Grab that link and you can watch that video on how to set up paper trading for yourself. All right. Once you've done all that, so you've taken some free training, you've gotten into our basic members area, you've gone through the initial stuff, you've opened a broker account, you've gotten your permissions in your paper trading account, and now you're ready to do something. What I would say then is your next step is to look and decide at a premium program. And the reason I say a premium program and not just sticking with the free stuff is because uh, we can only go so far with researching and tracking all the trades that we do in these free programs. The stuff that you get in a premium program comes with very in-depth training on that specific strategy. It comes with a track record and expected results and other services and training that make it much more valuable than what we can do in a free group setting like this. So what I would say is attend those free sessions that I mentioned earlier, pick a trader that kind of speaks to you, and then pick a premium program that suits your budget that you can follow with them, because and find one, and this is I think is important for somebody who's joining their first program, that meets your budget. Obviously, you can't go spending, more money than you can afford to spend on the program itself. That meets your schedule. So don't join a 10 a.m. trading program if you're not available at 10 a.m. every day. Don't join something that makes you watch the market all day every day if you're only looking to trade for 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes a week. You know, find one that has a high win rate if you think you're somebody who can't stomach losing very often. Get one that gives you the best return if that's really what you're looking for, is just the most amount of money back on your investments, whatever your risk tolerance is, your schedule is, whatever, and find one that includes both training and trade alerts um as your first program. Although it really should say alerts slash a trade recommendation tool such as Income Machine. So the reason I say that this is important is because obviously every program that we offer includes the training. That's like a given for us. I'm not sure it's a given in the world out there, but it's a given for us. The training is there. But if you join a program as your first program that requires you to take the training and then go find your own trades, this is a hurdle on top of the existing hurdles that you have of just learning how to trade, the basics of the markets, learning how to use your broker platform, attending these live sessions. If you first have to go find trades and figure out what to buy, I think that's an unnecessary hurdle for your first program. That said, there are plenty of good programs out there where they teach you exactly how to do that. And if that's what you're looking to do, if you don't want somebody to tell you what to trade, you want to learn how to figure it out for yourself, then do that as your first program. But if you're looking for the simplest entry into all of this, then get one that gives you alerts so that you, while you're learning, while you're figuring all this out, you're also getting a weekly or a daily alert on your computer or your phone or whatever that says, hey, I'm going to buy this. You should consider buying it too. And then you don't have to find that trade. You don't have to research it. You can just look at it, decide whether you want to take it, go to your brokerage platform, enter the trade, and you're good to go. And by being part of a premium program, you will have taken the training that tells you what to do when you get that alert and then what to do afterwards. How do we manage the trade once we're in it? How do we exit the trade? That's different for almost every program. They're all, I mean, there are some categories of things that we have over 100 programs. There aren't 100 different ways to manage trades, but there are a dozen different ways to manage trades. And so uh by being in a premium program, you're going to get trades that consistently meet a particular way of trading and that are always managed the same way. And that's how you learn better and how you have consistency in your trading. If you just go to a whole bunch of free sessions and take a whole bunch of free trades, by the time you're done with day number 2, you're going to have a dozen trades and you're not going to remember how to manage any of them. So pick a premium program so that you have in-depth training and consistency, and you'll learn better and faster, and then you'll have a foundation to then build on to learn other programs. Let me see what we have in the chat so far here. In the members area is a place to put in your trade for taste. Yeah. So Cindy Lou, you're talking about the one how the members area connects to to the other platforms, like the one-click aspect of that. Is that what you're talking about? So all right, I'll try. I'm not sure I understand completely the question, but I'll try and cover it in a couple of ways. So there are different programs that give alerts in different ways. Some only give alerts on Telegram. Most of them give alerts through our members platform. And then you get a message that says there's a new alert for you. Go look in the platform. So there are a couple of different ways to get the alerts. Some of them are just only in Telegram and you get the actual alert in Telegram. And some of them are just an alert to go check the members area. That's how most of them work. Now, you can use something like what we were just looking at. Income Machine doesn't give you alerts in that regard, but it does tell you exactly what trade to take. So I would say that is still very good as a first program because you're letting it do the scanning and the finding and the option selection. You don't have to do all that yourself. So it's still very good as a first program, as a new trader program. What I would stay away from are the ones that just completely make you analyze the charts and do all that kind of stuff as your very first program. Again, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking like, hey, I don't want somebody to tell me what to do, I want to learn how to dig in and read this myself, then by all means do that. But I would say that's the minority of people that are starting to trade. Are you saying you have over 30 programs? That are you talking to me or somebody else about 30 programs? So we have over 100 programs. We have 13 traders. We have a handful of programs from each one. So I think we have somewhere around 100 plus programs to choose from. So it's just too much, to be honest, to do all of that. Nobody can do all of that. So you pick a trader, you start with a trader, and then you go from there. All right, let me move through this a little faster. All right, paper before money. That's what I was talking about with the paper trading, practicing. So just to talk about that a little bit, basically what I would suggest is if you've never traded before at all, or let's say you've traded stocks but never traded options, or you've traded options but never traded spreads, there are all these different categories of things you may not have done yet. Trade until you're comfortable with how to do it in your brokerage platform. Paper trade until you're comfortable with the strategy that you're following, if it's a new strategy. Paper trade until you understand how to enter and exit the trades and manage them in the middle. And until you understand how to calculate your risk and your potential profit for that program. I would say once you are comfortable with all four of these things, then you're ready to start using real money. You know how to use your platform, you know how to enter the trades and what to do with them once you enter them, and you understand what your risk is when you get into the trade compared to what you might make on the trade. Then I think you're ready. Then expand at your own pace. You don't have to master the entire stock market and all things trading before you go from first strategy to second strategy. But you should be comfortable enough in your first strategy that you feel like you have mental capacity and emotional capacity and financial capacity to add a second one. If adding a second one is going to cause you to trade the first one improperly due to financial stress, emotional stress, time management, then you're not ready for a second program yet. You don't want to do worse in your first program just so you can add a second program. You want to comfortably handle the first one and feel like you've got buffer for another one before you move on to a second one. It's not a race. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to keep up with the other traders in these sessions. Everybody started where you are, and everybody's at a different point in their trading journey. And their journey might have taken X number of days, weeks, months, years, and yours may take Y number of days, months, weeks, months, years, and it does not matter. Going too fast matters because you're going to mess up and you're going to lose money and you're going to be discouraged from doing it correctly because you tried and you failed. So go at your own pace. All right. That's it for first steps. What I just want to cover for those that are really brand new are some of the ways that we talk about assets and trades and different things there. So the first thing is that there are a whole bunch of different assets that we trade. What is an asset? It's the thing you're actually trading. So A stock is basically a piece of a company, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla. An index is a list of those stocks, a list of companies put together into a group, such as the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which has 30 in it. There are a whole bunch of indexes, and they help to kind of give us an overall idea of how the market's doing. But again, it's based on a specific select stocks to make up that index. ETFs are funds that we can trade like a stock, but it allows us to trade things that aren't a stock. So, for example, we can trade the S&P 500, which is a list of stocks, but we can trade that list using an ETF. And we can trade other things like small cap stocks as a list. And we can do all that using these exchange traded funds is what it stands for. So using ETFs, we can trade indexes, even though the index isn't a thing, it's just a list of other things. We can trade that list using ETFs. Options are basically contracts to buy or sell something. It could be a stock, it could be an index, it could be a stock, or it could be an ETF. We trade the indexes through ETFs. So you can have an option on a stock, you can have an option on an ETF. And basically what this allows us to do is not buy the stock, but pay a small amount for the opportunity to buy the stock. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. There's all kinds of training in our members area for that. But just understand that while a stock is an actual thing, an option is just the opportunity to buy or sell that thing later. That's all it is. So it's almost like, you go to the store, they ran out of the thing, and they give you, I can't think of what it's called now, but they give you a coupon, a rain check, right? They give you a rain check. Well, here's a little card that says, since we're out of the soup at buy one, get one, here's a rain check card that says between now and the end of the month, you can buy soup at that price if you want. That's what an option is. Okay. And then there are other things that we don't even get into in our company and in our programs, like mutual funds and bonds. And we do crypto actually, but it's a whole separate beast. All right. Then we talk about the different types of trades that we take. We talk about some programs being income and some being growth. Now, income is pretty much the only word we use for income, but growth kind of has a bunch of other synonyms that we use, like aggressive or speculative, or a bunch of words that make it sound even more dangerous than growth. But understand that generally speaking, when we talk about income, we're trading to have a regular, generally speaking, smaller gain on a regular schedule that's fairly reliable in our account, as opposed to growth, where we're maybe not trading on a very predictable schedule. We're going for higher gains in all of our trades, but they're probably less likely to win as often. And it's not as reliable. The schedule may not be as reliable. The win rate might not be as reliable, etc. So when we talk about growth, we're talking about trying to grow our account aggressively, which means greater risk. When we talk about income, we're generally talking about lower risk, lower return. That's a very broad generalization. Then we also talk about risk level. And we looked at that today when we were in the income machine. We talk about something being conservative, something being balanced, something being aggressive. Some of that has to do with just the straight odds of it happening, right? Like we feel this trade is 50-50. We could call that balanced. We could say, well, it only has a 30% chance of winning. Well, that's pretty aggressive if we're going to play that. Or something has an 80% chance of winning. That's pretty conservative. We could also talk about how much money we're putting on something being conservative, balanced, or aggressive, right? So depending upon how much you're trading with, what your budget is, you could just, regardless of the type of trade, you could say, well, if you're putting a third of your account on a trade, you're being way too aggressive. That kind of thing. And then we also talk about certain sectors and certain things just being really volatile. And that could make it conservative, balanced, or aggressive. So a lot of ways to look at the risk level. One thing to also keep in mind is that we also look at risk, not just on its own, but compare to the potential reward, or we either say risk reward or risk return. So, for example, if I said to you, well, something only has a 50-50 chance of winning, you might say, well, I don't love those odds. But if I said, well, when you lose, you're going to lose whatever you invested. When you win, you're going to win 5 times what you invested. Now, a 50-50 shot on a 5x win means you're going to clean up. So it's sometimes relative to the reward. Sometimes the risk is just too high, no matter what the reward is. Sometimes if you don't have a large account, you're not going to take a trade that only has a 10% chance of winning, even if it's a lotto ticket to being a millionaire, because you can't keep taking trades that only have a 10% chance of winning. You'll have nothing left in your account in 5 trades. So it can be, it could still make sense based on the risk to reward, but may not make sense for you just based on the risk. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. Get a sip of water here. This is taking longer than I thought. I hope that's okay. All right. And you need to hear this 2 years ago. Well, yeah. So, well, I'm here now and I'm doing my best for you. So hopefully it helps. It helps at this point. I'm glad it sounds useful. All right. The other thing we talk about is how long are we holding it? We talk about like average hold time. What that means is we get into a trade. How long before we typically get out of that trade? We call that the hold time. Now, some trades we take are day trades, which means that we're in and out of them in the same day. Some trades are, and there are some restrictions on that you'll hear about in these sessions and in the training, that you can only take a certain number of day trades in a week unless you have a large account and you've gotten permission to take them frequently. So you have to be careful with trades that you get in and out of the same day. There is a little asterisk on that, because if you're using options that expire on the day you get in them and you just let them expire, then it's not a day trade. Even though they technically expired on the same calendar day, it only counts as a day trade if you get out of it before the close of that day, the close of the market that day. All right. Then we talk about swing trades. Now, this has a little bit of a varied meaning amongst different traders. My definition is that it's not a day trade, which means you're holding it at least overnight. So 1 day to 6 months. Other people might have a slight variation on that, but that's generally what you'll find, at least in our group. Anything from 1 day to 6 months is a swing trade, which means that we're not buying this and holding it for like, an unknown amount of time. We have a rough idea of when we're getting out of this in the next few months or days or weeks. And therefore, it's kind of a short-term trade. And then there's buy and hold, or long-term, which would be anything over 6 months. That's basically where we don't necessarily have, sometimes we have like targets and dates, but it's more of you just believe that this is going to go up over time and you're just sticking with it and collecting from it. And then there's a special category of long-term trades that are dividend assets, where while you're in it for that long term, they actually pay you out over the time that you are in it. And it's kind of like a paycheck for owning it for that period of time. So that's another income strategy you can use in addition to just taking regular trades, is buying and holding something that gives you dividends. All right. That's what we have for the different types of assets and trades. Now let's talk about the psychology of being a good trader. And this we could do a whole hour on. We're not going to do that. But none of the stuff that we do here is an overnight get rich quick scheme. If that's what you're here for, you're in the wrong place. And honestly, you're hunting for the wrong thing, because that's a lottery ticket that has almost no chance of success. But the return on it sounds so good that it seems worth trying, right? I'm not saying don't ever play the lottery. I'm just saying don't let that be your trading strategy. You shouldn't trade with money you can't afford to lose, right? Only trade with money that you can afford to lose. Now, very few people would say that they're happy losing money. What we mean is that you shouldn't be playing around with your rent money, your grocery money, your kids, only college money, whatever is important to you. You should be using money that you've allocated for trading, for investment. That's the money you should be trading with. Now, here's probably the most important thing and the hardest thing out of any slide you're ever going to see. Take the emotion out of it. And that is nearly impossible, I guess, unless you're like a psycho killer or something. Um, because we're emotional beings and we have built-in human responses to things. And when we see something going against us, when we see that we're losing money or we see that we feel like we made a mistake, to some degree we panic, and to some degree we want to do whatever we can to either get out of the situation or fix it. And what you have to know is that when you get into the trade, you should not get into a trade that you don't know what the strategy is to manage it. Now, some strategies are, we're going to get in this trade and we're going to revisit it next week and we're going to decide what to do with it then. Other strategies are, we're going to buy this and we're never going to look at it or touch it again until it's expired. And other ones are, we're going to buy this and we're going to immediately set our target and then we're not going to touch it. And so you have to find the strategies that fit your ability to manage your emotions and will allow you to trade the way the program is meant to be traded, or you can't possibly expect the results that are seen in that program historically. So, for example, just to use Nathan and Graham, uh, Graham, they each have strategies that have like 80 to 90% win rates. They also have strategies that have like just over 50% win rates. Now, even if the ones that have just over 50% win rates will make you more money in the long run, you have to be able to stomach losing just about half your trades. If that's not you, then you need to go for the 75, 80, 85, 90% win rates and realize that over the course of time, you may not have made the most amount of money possible, but you made the most amount of money possible for a program you can handle. Because if you can't handle the program and trading it the way it's supposed to be traded, it doesn't matter what it could make, you're never going to make that. Even if a program could double your money every week, but you'd lose 7 out of 10 trades and you can't handle losing 7 out of 10 trades to double your money every week, you're never going to double your money every week. You're going to get in those trades and you're going to panic and you're going to trade wrong. And then you're not going to see that expected return. You're going to crash and burn. So you need to make sure you're in a program that you can handle. And even if there's a more profitable program out there, if you can't trade at that time of day, or you can't spend that amount of time every week trading, or you can't handle the win rates or loss rates or whatever, it doesn't matter. That program is not for you. You trade the best program you can trade. So that's what I mean by taking the emotion out of it. Trading it the way it's supposed to be traded, knowing when you go in the trade exactly how you're going to manage it, and then stopping yourself from doing anything different, even if it goes against you. Also, being consistent with your trades is important too. Don't put $100 into a particular strategy one trade, and $1,000 in the next trade, and $500 in the next trade, and $1,500 in the next trade, because you're reacting to how you did on the last one. That's going to throw off all your percentages also. That's going to make it very difficult to get the expected results out of the program. Be consistent, and then when you grow your account, then make a conscious change to change that amount. So if you're trading $100 every time you trade that program, and after a month, you've increased your account enough where you now feel like you could do $200 a trade, then level it up to 200, but then be consistent for a month or 2 months or 3 months at 200. Don't bounce around back and forth. That's bad for your overall record. And again, stick to the program, stick to the trader's advice, and you'll get the most out of it. We talked about paper trading. It's important to do that until you are ready to invest real money. And then this is another hard one for people to kind of wrap their minds around, that the goal is an average return. It's not an average win. So what I mean by that is, we might look at a program that on its winning trades wins 200% on average. Every winning trade averages 200%. The losing trades lose 100%, let's say. Whatever you put into it, you lose when you lose. There's no partial loss. So if you're expecting 200% every time, then those losses are going to mentally destroy you. What you should be expecting is the average return on all those 200% wins with the 100% losses taken out of them. You might come out averaging a 50% return on every trade with the winners and the losers combined. That's what you should have mentally, is what you're expecting from the program, not just the wins and then the losses feel like, you were gutted. If you're making 200%, 200%, 200%, and you lose 100%, but in your mind, you're just trying to average 50% in this program, you're fine. You're doing great. But if in your mind, you're trying to get 200% out of every trade, it's not possible. 200% is what you get out of the winners. They're not all going to be winners. You need to be able to expect and accept the losses. So you need to know what your real expected average return is, not what your average winner should be. And lastly, ask for help if you need it. There are a lot of ways to get help. The services that we offer are some of them. There's help in the free sessions. There's help with customer support. There's help in customer service live. So there are a lot of ways to get help. And in all of our members areas, there's a help tab that helps you get that help. All right. To wrap it up, we have a lot of services. We have a lot of sessions. We have a lot of programs. Don't overload yourself. There's no point in being in every live session if you're a brand new trader. It's just going to be overwhelming and you're going to shut down. Start with the training. If you have a membership, start with the training that came with your membership. If you're in a program, that's the most important training. Focus your time and energy on that program's training. And then you can sprinkle on other things if you have the bandwidth for that. And prioritize the live sessions by the trader whose program you're in. So if you're in Nathan's program, then you should be spending time with Nathan more so than other traders, now that you've decided that Nathan's the guy you want to follow, because you'll get the most out of the program and the most out of the live sessions by everything being congruent the way he trades. And that's true for any trader. And then, sorry, this is kind of covered up here. So, once you have prioritized all that and you're comfortable with that program, then you can start expanding out to more programs and more traders. We have Customer Service Live. Customer Service Live is a 3-hour a day, 5-day a week Zoom call that if you're a member of any of our programs, including the $1 membership, you have access to Customer Service Live. And they're doing constant demonstrations of all different things, and they're there to answer your questions. So instead of emailing or calling customer support, if it's between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, you can literally go to the help tab in the members area, click the Zoom link, and join a Zoom call and get your question answered on screen. So they are, and you can also hang out in there if you're not in another session and learn something new. So it's really a very cool service that I believe we're the only company that offers. But overall, go at your own speed. Everyone is in a different place in their trading journey. And I think I mentioned earlier, it's not a race. Your brokerage, whichever one you choose, provides training. They have tutorials, videos, documents, and everything. And they have their own support on how to use their platform. Use their training to learn how to use their platform. Use our support to learn how to trade our programs and just to learn trading in general. But when it comes to how to actually use the platform itself, what to click where, you need to take at least the basic training from your brokerage firm on their platform. All right, that's all I have for this. And then, I had some ideas for some future classes. We definitely have more resources that I didn't take the time to go over. I'd love to talk to you about budgeting and allocation and diversification methods. I'd love to dive into understanding risk a bit, how to track your trades, a little bit of the pros and pitfalls of paper trading that we didn't get into today, a little bit about training on YouTube, and something very important, which goes along with some of the psychology stuff that that we covered today, but what Roger Scott has coined emotional mind traps. These are very specific things that you'll run into when you're trading and what you should do to avoid them or to get out of those situations. And I'm talking about mental situations, not actual trading situations, although in some cases they're kind of specific like that. But um, let me know if you found this training helpful. Let me know what ideas you have for what you'd like to see in future classes like this. Drop it in the chat. While you're doing that, I'm going to switch this around here. I know it's late already, but I'm going to play the Income Machine promo. If you want to get 30 days free of the Income Machine, stick around and watch this, and you will have an opportunity to get in for 30 days free, as well as a discount if you want to purchase a longer membership. So let me grab that right here. And actually, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to do a different screen share. All right. Here's that. Let me know what you thought of the training and what you'd like to see in the future ones, and we'll go ahead and run this Income Machine opportunity for you. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning in opening Playbook.
Now, the trades expressed today are based on signals from the Income Machine with the benefit of hindsight. Now, my guest has been able to use this tool with a great deal of success in his own signals. A lot of them he shared with you guys, with a 93% win rate so far on those closed trades and a profit factor of 4.92. Pretty darn good. Now, you guys know there's going to be winners and losers along the way, so don't get too excited about any single position. And every example today is based on a $2,500 starting stake unless otherwise stated. However, the average position is right around $100 to $200, so you don't need to start out big. Now, the stories shared today were from real people who submitted their story for us to showcase. We did not meet with anyone one-on-one or advisor situation, as we are publishers, not financial advisors. Now, each person makes their own decision when it comes to trading, so trade at your own risk. And you can go on to our homepage for more information there. And just to restate this a third time, winners happen, losers happen. Don't go all in on any single trade. We want to give you an edge. And I think this tool is perfectly designed for that. Now, my name is Graham Lindman, and I'm your host for the big reveal of what we're calling the Income Machine. And today, I want to invite you to get your hands on the Income Machine for free. It's all part of a brand new initiative designed to help everyday traders target extra income from the stock market. I'm talking about income opportunities that could be worth $250, $500, or $1,000 each and every week, all based on your own risk appetite and your own investing goals. You see, over the last few weeks, I've been privately meeting with a trading superstar, Nate Tucci, who is quickly becoming one of the most popular traders under the age of 40. Now, after using his aggressive income approach to publicly grow an account from 10,000 to 50,000 in about 4 months' time, and then also quietly generating over $100,000 in his slow and steady income portfolio last year. Well, now Nate has set out on a mission unlike anything we've ever done before. It's a mission to solve one problem that no one else in the trading world has. You see, most income methods out there, they box you into a single approach. They're either built for the ultra conservative retiree, or they're designed for the risk hungry investor who's looking to double their money. There's no flexibility, no middle ground, and no way to adjust the opportunity based on your desired approach, or even the ability to shift your risk appetite based on market conditions or other factors. But what if there was an income system that could do more? I'm talking about an income system that could help folks target 250, 500, or even $1,000, depending on what you are most comfortable with. Well, as you'll see today, that's exactly what the Income Machine was programmed to do. It's the first income tool of its kind, designed to help you dial up or dial down how aggressive you want it to be with just a few clicks. And every day it uses a proprietary formula that scans the entire market, identifies the strongest stocks, and then breaks it down into 3 specific trade ideas so that you can choose the route you want to go. The conservative approach, that's for those who want to shoot for consistent wins and limited risk, targeting right around $250 per trade. Then there's a balanced approach for folks wanting to target a little more upside, shooting for around 500 bucks a trade. Or there's also the aggressive approach for those chasing those $1,000 plus payouts with smart, calculated trade setups. Now, regardless of which approach fits you best, you'll get exactly what you need to act with confidence. You'll get the exact stock and options to trade, the exact hold time, the break even price, the expected income potential, and even the calculated odds of success. No guesswork, no noise, just a direct income signal where you have the power to pick the opportunity that you like the best. So, whether you're in retirement, scaling up a side hustle, or just getting serious about finding new ways to help build monthly income, well, the income machine lets you pick your path. All you have to do is press go. And today we're going to give you a chance to try it out for free. You won't have to pay a dime, not even a credit card required. That way, by the time this class is over, you'll be able to start using it right away to access the top income opportunities already selected, targeting the next 250, 500, or even $1,000 payout right from your standard brokerage account. So, Nate, it's great to have you on again today and show us everything. Walk us through it all.
All right. Well, it's awesome to be here, and I can't wait to give folks who haven't seen this the keys to an all new, fully automated income machine over the next few minutes. A tool that can allow us to target, like Graham said, 250, 500, $1,000, even more often on an optimized income opportunity every day with just a couple clicks of the mouse. Now, it's all thanks to an underlying market phenomenon that I'm using in my top income strategies, phenomenon that's helped me hit real-time win rates like 77.7% in overnight, 80.5% in two-way options, and then even 100% win rate on my weekend income strategy, all on live published real trades. But now, with the income machine, I programmed something even more powerful all in one place to help us automatically source some of the very best income opportunities each and every week, where you have the power to pick the approach that fits you best. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to meet with you and tell you which one you should or shouldn't do. That's obviously up for you to decide, 100% your decision. But I did the best I could to make this tool as easy as possible for anyone and everyone to use, regardless of your preferred trading style or income goals. So that includes all sorts of people. People like Tim C. from New Jersey, who wrote in that he's still working full-time and he enjoys hobbies like golf in his free time. Same here. According to Tim, he would like to supplement his income and scale his investment account before he retires. But Tim told us he doesn't want to just blindly swing for the fences. He wants something that's consistent and reliable with the strongest track record possible. So for anyone out there looking for the most conservative income opportunity, something that Tim might choose, we have you covered with the conservative path. Or how about a lot of folks like Tyler G. from North Carolina? Tyler wrote in telling us that he's a dad who balances a day job with running his own business. And while he might not feel ahead financially yet, he's very motivated. When he's not working, he's spending quality time with the kids, and he's looking to grow an account in a way that doesn't steal the time from his kids. Obviously, something that I can relate to as a dad with a whole bunch of young kids. With that in mind, folks like Tyler might not want to have, the slowest, most conservative approach. They might want something that's more middle ground. So if that's you and you want to shoot for a slightly larger income potential in your trades while still maintaining a high accuracy rate, well, the income machine does that too. We have this middle balanced approach baked in to every opportunity. But it doesn't stop there. We've also heard from tons of people like Karen from Tucson, Arizona. Karen says she likes to target the bigger returns and lean into a little more volatility if it means a shot at more money on any given trade. Why? Because she's got a mission. This is what she wrote in, that she wants to replace what didn't work, tap into the high risk-reward opportunities, and hopefully fund the travel dream she's been putting off for years. So if you're someone who wants to go for some of those bigger income opportunities, the biggest ones available, $1,000, $1,200, $1,300, sometimes even more, depending on how juicy that setup is. That's why there's also an aggressive income approach baked in, which dials up the opportunities that give you the most bang for your buck. So what you're going to get on any opportunity using the income machine is 3 different approaches for 3 different types of investors. And regardless of who you are or which approach might fit you best, the income machine puts you in control. You're going to get to choose which one you want. Then it gives you, this is the cool part, the exact trade criteria to follow along if you like what you see. Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through some of the stories that my students wrote in to tell us. I mean, we have Like I said, hundreds, but we're going to share a couple of them. And we want to show you how powerful this new tool can be for people of all walks of life who have written in. Now, while I do that, I would love for you to start imagining just what you would do with this tool in your hands, using in your life right now, because you'll see firsthand how the income machine was specifically designed to help navigate the market for anyone and everyone, regardless of your financial status. So if you fall into that everyone category, yes, I am talking to you right now. And finally, as Graham mentioned, I'll be dropping a link in the chat where you can access the income machine today at zero cost to give it a try. Now, Wall Street wants you to think that making money from the stock market is extremely complicated, it's extremely time consuming, and that you need their help, right? And that you'd have to wait years and years to get a payout of any meaningful investment. But the truth is, it only takes a few minutes and a couple clicks of the mouse to start targeting extra cash from the stock market each and every day. And one of my favorite things, probably my absolute most favorite thing to do in my career, is showing folks how to target income from the stock market week after week. It doesn't matter if you've been trading for 10 plus years like I have, or if you're literally just getting started. And now with the income machine, those types of opportunities can be more accessible than ever before. To keep things simple, let's say someone's investing $2,500, just as our basic example for all these trades, and they want to start using the income machine. For starters, we saw tons of stories from people like Linda A. from Texas. Linda wrote in that she's a full-time side hustler with a dream to retire her husband earlier than he's expecting so that their kids can spend more time with dad. She doesn't want to gamble. She doesn't want to overcomplicate things. She wants something more stable, something steady, something that works. So let's imagine it's February 10th and someone like Linda pulled up the income machine and wanted to set up with the least amount of risk, okay? Well, at the top of the list, you would have seen Visa, okay, ticker V, as an ideal income generating stock for that particular week. Anyone who wanted the safest play of the bunch could have clicked on the conservative approach. And with one click, they would have seen all the trade details automatically populated. The ticker to type in, the exact options to trade, the entry price that they should target there, and even the income potential at expiration. From there, folks could have simply placed the trade in a standard brokerage account or approved retirement account, and when things worked out, automatically cashed out a few weeks later with $302 sitting in their account. No guesswork, no babysitting the trade. And with about 60 seconds of work, folks like Linda could be $302 closer to making that dream happen. Next up, we have many students. Probably the most popular answer was people like Kendra C. Kendra mentioned that she's a busy working mom in her mid-30s with a young family. She said that she juggles work, school runs, late night dinner duty. My wife is in the same boat. I understand time is tight in that situation. Lately, she's been thinking about building a second income stream, something that could help cover more travel and new experiences with her husband and the kids, and ultimately less stress in her day-to-day life. Now, Kendra doesn't want the wild swing. She doesn't want the highest risk, but she also said that she's not afraid for going for a little more upside than the conservative approach when the odds are in her favor. So if someone like Kendra logged into the income machine and they saw Visa listed at, as the top income opportunity, well, they might have chosen that balanced income approach, kind of the in-between, right? Now, in seconds, they would have seen the full trade layout, the ticker, the options, expiration, expected return, the risk parameters, literally all mapped out right there for them and specifically selected to target a slightly larger payout on the Visa setup. And anyone following along could have opened up the brokerage app during lunch, put that Visa income position on using the pre-built trade that's all spelled out for you, and then gone back to work knowing they just gave pocket a few $100 over the next handful of days. And in this example, by the following Friday, they would have hit an extra $625 in their account. For folks like Kendra, a few more trades like that could be enough to surprise the family with that weekend getaway. Now, of course, not everyone is looking to, target the small steady gains or even the moderate size ones. Some traders want to swing bigger. They're willing to stomach a little more volatility if it means chasing that $1,000 plus payout on a single move. Just as folks like Todd M. actually sent me an email earlier. He's a soon-to-be retiree from Central Illinois. Now, Todd told us that at 64 years old, he's on the verge of retirement, but he's not planning to slow down. He wants to build out his funds, secure his grandkids' future, and pay off debt, all while trading full-time. I love how many people talked about their grandkids on these stories we got. And for Todd, he said he prefers to go for those larger returns when placing a trade. So if someone like Todd pulled up the income machine on February 10th, same day, they would have also seen Visa, but they might have went with the aggressive income path. And similar to folks like Kendra and Linda, anyone who did go with the aggressive approach on Visa would have had all the trade details mapped out for them automatically, except these specific options would have been tailored for a much larger opportunity, allowing folks to target a little bit more bang for the buck on this same Visa opportunity. So anyone who set up the trade on Visa would have pocketed an extra $1,231 by the end of the week using that more aggressive trade, giving folks like Todd more time with the grandkids fishing, camping, and showing them the better side of life.
Nate, this is awesome. Let me just pause you for a moment here. You just showed us how folks could have pocketed $302, $625, or even $1,231 with a few clicks of the button. Again, all generated from the income machine. And honestly, regardless of which outcome folks would have gone with, that could have been a little extra cushion to have in the wallet. Think about this. You guys know this. Since the pandemic, inflation has been out of control. Housing costs have shot through the roof. And the grocery bill somehow seems to have magically doubled over the last few years. Now, there's no real debate here. A lot of people could use some of that extra cash right now. Now, of course, you're not promising overnight riches here. That's not what today's class is about. But that's an extra $300, $600, or $1,200 that could have gone towards maybe paying down the credit card, saving up for the next vacation, or just beefing up the emergency fund. Now, that's great. But if you ask me, here's the best part of it all. Those examples were based on 3 different approaches, based on 3 different types of investors. But as we saw with the income machine, they wouldn't have been boxed in with only one approach that they may not have liked, actually just the opposite. In this case, there was a path for each type to aim for anywhere between $250 to $1,000 by the end of the week, all based on the approach that they wanted to go with and the risk to reward that they liked the best. So Nate, can you tell us a little bit more about how the income machine actually works and what makes this all possible?
Yeah, absolutely. But before I do, I think it's a good time, always a good time to remind you guys that no strategy wins all the time. There's no instant income magic pill, no matter how good of a tool you built. So please understand, we're of course bound to have winning and losing trades too. However, while we can never promise future returns, the income machine has been able to lock in some really handsome payouts week after week. And so far, we have a 93.3% success rate on the trade signals that I've shared with folks in real time, taking real money trades, which means so far we're winning more than 9 out of every 10 real money trades from the income machine. But to be extra clear, what I'm showing you is not some sort of money printer you can run in your basement. Instead, it's a way to help folks gain a legitimate leg up in the stock market and target some of the most repeatable income opportunities out there without needing to be glued to your screen 24/7 to make it happen. And even better, with the way the income machine selects the trades, we don't need to rely on stocks to be in a bull market to hit our full profit potential. For example, let's go back and look at some more real trades. This one from back in March. Now, if you were like most people in March, you probably watched your 401k drop like a rock. Over a 2-month stretch, the S&P slid north of 20% negative into bear market territory. The NASDAQ was down 23%. Even the more quote unquote stable Dow Jones was falling off a cliff in March. Now, again, let's say you had $2,500 invested in March. Folks would have lost money in the stock market with that invested, a couple $100 at least. But folks using the income machine could have seen a very different story. Like on March 10th, when we fired off a new income opportunity on Amazon. Now, folks who are like Ralph, who are maybe retired, looking for a strategy that aims for stability and risk management, when they pulled up the income machine on March 10th, they probably would have went with the conservative income play. Then they could have, copy and pasted over the exact option, set up the trade. That's it. When it panned out, they would have ended up pocketing $321 hands-free without even managing the trade, and done it even as the stock market continued to slide. Of course, if you wanted to go for a little more upside, like Stuart M told us he wanted, but still want that really high win rate, you could have targeted exactly that by clicking the balanced income path. Same process, but different outcome. With the balanced income option selected, folks could have seen an extra $563 on that same setup. Now, for anyone who's looking for a little extra sizzle on the income setup, maybe like Mary H, who said she wanted some big results, she wanted to go for the most aggressive option, well, there would have been an income path available for that as well, with all the trade details baked in there. And to no surprise, aggressive income approach also would have paid nicely that week, $1,468 on Amazon, a really nice trade there as well. So all in all, it would have been a really great week, regardless of which approach you took. I mean, Amazon hit on all 3 approaches, as often is the case. But we're not done just yet, because the next week rolled around, March 21st, we had a next opportunity here on General Electric, GE, one of the best stocks in the market right now. Now, let's say someone is more like Charles C. from Shippensburg, PA, not far from me, Charles. Now, he's still working full time, but he's getting close to that retirement period. The next 4 or 5 years, trying to really, build some extra income, beef up that account, and he wants a more moderate risk level. Well, on March 21st, when the income machine picked up on the new opportunity on GE, folks like Charles wouldn't have been left to take, that really slow and steady approach or the aggressive one. They're not boxed in there, like Graham was saying. Instead, they could have taken the opportunity on GE by clicking that balanced income path with the options automatically baked in and selected for you, pre-selected to hit that same balanced approach goal. And sure enough, when it all worked out, collected a smooth $578, the markets bounced back and GE went up all week long. So for anyone like Charles C., who enjoys getting outside, that could have covered the next 5 rounds of golf without needing to scale back on their retirement savings just from that one trade on GE. And if you were wondering, the conservative income path would have produced a great result that week too, $366. And the aggressive approach did really well as well, $1,150 on that GE opportunity. Then again, the following week to wrap up the month of March, it would have been the same exact story. Now, this week in particular was a horrendous week for stocks. I'm sure no one's forgotten with the good old Liberation Day where we liberated many stocks to the downside. Tariffs sent stocks absolutely shooting down, the 5th worst drop in over 100 years. But that really actually didn't matter. On March 31st, there was another income play populated on the income machine. This time, let's imagine you're more like Catherine, okay? So she said she's trading full time, looking for income methods, and really wants, more juice on the trade. Even if it means only winning 70 to 80% of the time, she wants the juiciest trade available. So for anyone who wanted to go for the biggest payout on Tesla, they would have obviously chosen that aggressive income option. And the options with the highest upside would have automatically populated right there from the tool for you, telling you exactly what to trade, including the entry price, the income potential, so that anyone could set that trade with ease. And anyone who would have done just that could have still had the chance to cash in big with $1,406, even as that Liberation Day massive plunge hit the market, which I'm super proud of how many trades were still great after that. Now, for a lot of folks, that's a mortgage payment without even looking at the charts or clicking a single extra button once the trade was placed. And obviously, the same could have been said about the conservative and the balanced income trades for that week as well. The conservative income knocked out $373 on Tesla that week, and the balanced one paid out $789.
Nate, between the Amazon, GE, and Tesla opportunities, all of which came back to back to back, that could have been 3 weeks in a row of banking some extra cash during what was really a horrible time for most investors. And depending on the route folks went with, whether whichever one was best for them, those payouts could have really stacked up over the month. If you stuck with the conservative approach, we're looking at $1,062. If you went with the balanced approach, a little better, $1,932, and a whopping $4,024 for the month on the aggressive income path, all of which could have been pocketed during that terrible stretch for the stock market and regular investors. And Nate, I have to say, while having a shot to pocket an extra $4,000 in a single month might sound far-fetched to some people, well, Nate, you're no stranger to showing folks how to see results like that from some of your income methods in the past. Just hear from some of these top students, guys. Carl says Nate and his team are doing a tremendous job, up over $4,000. Ken here's up $5,000 in a month, not trading as many contracts yet, but getting closer to his goal. Craig started with $3K, and 1 month later, he's at $7,480. Jack is 3 for 3, up $9,000. And Roger here, up $15,770 after the first 8 trades. So Nate, I understand that the income machine gives us 3 potential income approaches each day with different risk to reward payoffs. The least risky approach, that conservative one, shooting for about $250 per trade. The middle, that middle ground approach, about $500, and the most aggressive one going for $1,000 or sometimes more. But how does it actually work? Can you break that down for us a bit further?
Yeah, obviously, I'd love to. That's what we're here for. And it's all thanks to a powerful phenomenon hidden inside the. It's been studied extensively by researchers from, Harvard, Yale, even the major, financial institutions like Charles Schwab. Now, Wall Street loves exploiting this phenomenon, while the average Joe tends to completely miss out. It's how Wall Street seems to always have record profits, even during some of those turbulent times for the average investor. And you can look through tons of headlines that tell you exactly this. In fact, they're so good at this that it helped the CEO of one fund, Ken Griffin, catapult to the 40th richest person in the world at lightning speed just by taking the other side of people's trades. Now, when I say options, most people think of buying options in the hope that stock is going to rally higher, a directional trade. The problem with buying options, the way most people do, is that they simply don't tend to pay off, often even when you do get the direction correct. As a matter of fact, one of the things I always tell people is to look at the studies. Chicago Mercantile Exchange reported that 76% of options expire worthless. And this one's even worse. A contributing writer at the Financial Post studied options extensively. He found that up to 90% of all option buyers actually lose money on their trades at expiration, even if they're right about the underlying move. But with the income machine, we're not going out there and just buying options like most people do, hoping that they eventually become profitable. Instead, I'm leveraging the ones that are already profitable, where we don't need a directional move in our favor to hit our full profit potential. In fact, with the options we're leveraging, we can target 250, 500, $1,000 plus, even when the stock we're trading goes slightly against us, or sometimes even a good bit against us. For example, like this next position I shared on the income machine, this one was from May, which could have paid $586 with the balanced approach, while the stock was totally flat. Okay, so you notice there we didn't get a big move in our direction. And then the next one, this one was on Palantir. You can see here, $878 on the more aggressive approach, even as the stock actually went down.
So, Nate, are you selling naked puts here to flip options on their head?
Now, we're not selling naked puts. We're not doing anything like that. Now, naked puts is a fine strategy for the right type of investor, but in my experience, you hold a lot of risk for a pretty small return. And more importantly, one trade that goes wrong can literally wipe out your entire account. And so I recommend, unless you're a very specific type of investor, you don't have those types of trades that you can, blow up your account with one bad trade. Instead, I like it when high conviction trades and great returns cross paths. I mean, that's really the key for me here, exactly like they do with the income machine. See, the key to these lucrative opportunities is all thanks to tapping into some of the most overlooked options in the entire market. I'm talking about the options where the strike prices are actually already well below the current price of a stock. The options that are already profitable and quietly getting more valuable every day. And when the income machine filters through all of the options available, millions of combinations, it then picks the ones that, are going to be in this best situation to send to us. It sets up the trade in a specific way that will pay us as long as the stock stays above those strike prices. Okay. So for the folks wanting the conservative approach, this is going to be the one with your highest win rate. The income machine will dial up options that are way, way, way in the money, but still actually give you a pretty nice payout around $250. With the balanced approach, we're able to grab about 2 times the payout by simply moving a little closer to the price of the stock and usually get, around $500 on average. And then with the aggressive income opportunities, the same core principle, moving a little closer to the price of the stock, we can usually target $1,000 plus on those more aggressive trades. So again, 3 very different routes, but all great opportunities. And here's really my favorite part about it all. Regardless of which income approach you go with, Income Machine sets up the trade in a way that will pay us as long as the stock stays above that level that we picked. Actually, that the Income Machine has picked for us. So we don't have to rely on the stock to move higher, and we don't even have to worry about it drifting sideways like most people get killed with options. We can repeatedly target 250, 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks, 1,200, 1,300, sometimes actually a good bit more depending on the situation, as long as the stock stays above our strike. For example, let's take a look at 2 more trades that we hit and made, real money trades, ones that I publicly shared with my students. First, we got an opportunity on Walmart. So on May 15th, Income Machine populated Walmart as a great opportunity. Now, let's say you're like Mark M. from Whitmore Lake, Michigan. Like many, he wrote in telling us he's retired, likes to travel, and pretty comfortable overall. So maybe you're not a huge risk taker, but you wouldn't mind targeting some extra income just to cover some of those monthly expenses that seem to constantly go up. Well, as long as it comes with a very good chance of success, a lot of people like Mark are happy to take those kind of trades. Well, in that case, when the Income Machine sourced the opportunity on Walmart, you might have gone with a conservative approach. Of course, once you click that, the Income Machine is going to go ahead and automatically give you the ticker, the exact options, the entry price, the income potential, and a whole lot more baked in there. Now, let me actually pull up the chart of Walmart so you can visually see just how conservative these options are. Okay, so here's Walmart. going right into that May 15th date when the income machine gave us our newest opportunity. And here's the options generated by the income machine for the conservative approach. Look how far below the price of Walmart they are. It means Walmart could have, gone straight up, gone to the moon, could have chopped around and gone nowhere fast, or it could have taken a massive nosedive and fell nearly 10% in a week. And anyone taking the conservative options could have still actually gotten paid, even in all those different scenarios. Now, in this example, Walmart actually did end up trading a little bit lower from there, but it never came close to compromising that position. So you can see it never even came close to our, what I would call, line in the sand there. So anyone following along could have captured another nice payout, this time $277 in a little over a week.
Well, Nate, that's obviously great, and I don't think anyone would complain. But what about the folks who would have taken the balanced or the aggressive approach? They probably lost money with Walmart heading down during that trade, right?
Well, not even close, actually. For example, let's look at what folks like Rhonda H., obviously a Kansas City fan there, might have done with this Walmart place. Now, Rhonda said she's financially comfortable, likes to have a balanced approach, and she would love to make some fun money to splurge on the 13 grandkids. So if someone like Rhonda opened up the income machine, they would have very likely chosen the balanced approach. Now, the options would have been automatically picked to give folks a little extra upside, around 2 times what we just showed in the conservative payout potential. But still, as you can see, quite a bit of buffer room here on Walmart, quite a bit of room for error here. And again, even though Walmart fell, 5% from the highs there over the next couple of days, it really didn't matter. It never came close to jeopardizing that payout and ended up at $586. So anyone taking the balance approach would have cashed in automatically for $586. Now, what about the more aggressive investors? Folks like Lester C. from Kansas, who might like the big upside and said he can handle the swings. Well, of course, the aggressive options were a little bit closer to the current price, as you can see here. We're going a little bit closer, going for that bigger hit of $1,000+. But again, even though Walmart went down, you actually still would have won even on the aggressive approach. $1,021 there when it was all said and done on the aggressive approach as well. And that's because the income machine was designed to set each trade in a way that will pay us as long as the stock stays above our strike price, meaning we can get paid even while regular shareholders of the very same stocks are coughing up profits.
Well, Nate, I have to admit, that's pretty darn impressive. And it reminds me of what some of your top students have said about your income strategies just recently. Here we have Dan says, I love that the S&P doesn't even have to be positive for the trade to work out. He's 4-0. Let's look at this next one here. A retired Navy vet. He's gone 5 for 6 so far. Total return of $4,650. And he really enjoys the ease of placing the trades and the surprise you feel when they close out for a win. And then there's Modi, 9 for 9 on the winners. He does $2,500 in each, and he's made $11,250 in 9 weeks. He says, where can I make that kind of money and let the markets do all the hard work for me?
Well, I love hearing those stories and giving folks a real shot at making some extra cash. I mean, hearing those stories is probably the best part of what we do. And it's even more fun when the market is kind of ugly and we're getting that kind of feedback. And today, I'm hoping a lot more folks can see results like Modi, Art, and Dan, and a whole bunch of the other ones you shared. And I want to make it even easier for them by handing them access to the fully automated income machine, where there's no need at all to waste time flipping through charts, running complex formulas, trying to pick the right options. The income machine does all of the heavy lifting for you automatically. For example, very next opportunity on the income machine. This one was on May 23rd. The income machine automatically sourced the next opportunity, which was on XLC. And I know a whole bunch of people in the chat made money on this one, actually. Now, if you're someone like Erin, who let us know that she's working hard, busy as can be, and likes to trade things with less risk that can work in the background, well, that's what the conservative approach is there for, with exactly what you need to know to take the trade. Now, let's have a look at the chart just so you can see on XLC how powerful this really is. Here it is on the chart, XLC, going into May 23rd, and look at where this conservative option that the income machine found us is. I mean, that's crazy. Look how far below the price is. So once again, the stock could have gone soaring higher, could have been stuck in the mud, or it could have been tumbling nearly 10%, and folks would have still been well in the clear to make money on XLC. Now, in this case, it was just a bunch of useless chop, which we've seen a lot of recently on some of these sectors, where folks made $0 if you're holding XLC. But with the income machine, totally different result. $340 coming in the door automatically. Next, take a look at what would happen with the balanced income approach. Now, I had a whole bunch of students, I think this was our most popular answer here, say that they're in it for the balanced approach. Lloyd, Mike, David, hundreds of others who wrote in. So I know this is going to be a very, very popular option going forward from the people who are actually using the income machine starting today. Now, with the balanced approach, the income machine would have given folks exactly what's needed to set the trade. You can see here more potential, but still tons of room on the stock itself. Could have dropped about 5% and still been totally safe on this balanced approach. And after the next week was over and XLC went nowhere fast, you could have ended up at $705 for the week using the balanced approach. And last, but certainly not least, it was the same story with the aggressive approach, which is the one that I actually sent out to a whole bunch of members on Opening Playbook or folks on Opening Playbook. And as long as the price of the stock stayed above our strike, we're in it, full profit. This one chopped around, ended up going absolutely nowhere. So we still had plenty of cushion by the end of the trade. I didn't care that it was chopping around. Most people holding regular options probably would have been banging their head against the wall. For me, didn't bother me one bit, because anyone who would have taken this one, the same trade I took, could have ended up with $1,287 hands-free with plenty of room to spare in a matter of days.
Nate, even with the aggressive approach you took that week, that was still quite a bit of buffer room for the stock to fall and still hit that max payoff. Let's pull up the chart again. With the options selected by the income machine, the ones that you publicly shared with many students, that stock could have gone up, flat, or even slid about 3% that week and still cashed in for over $1,000 there. Now, of course, it stands to reason that the conservative approach is designed to give you the highest win rate. No questions asked. The balanced approach should still give you an excellent win rate with a little bit bigger payout, about twice the payout. But that aggressive approach will target the most potential possible and still have a nice buffer room on the setup, making all three routes great choices to have depending on your own personal preference versus being boxed in to only trade one way each and every time. Now you have the power. And since all three approaches give you a really solid buffer where you can win even if the stock drops, well, now it makes sense how you've been able to nail a 93.3% win rate on the closed trades blended across the three approaches with the income machine. And that also includes a remarkable 4.92 profit factor on the live trade signals. Nate, with real-time results like that, I have to ask you, are you sure you want to hand out access of the income machine for free? Shouldn't you charge something?
Well, trust me, I am 100% sure we want to do the free trial run of the income machine. I've been talking about this for months. Very excited to do it today. In just a few minutes, we will post that link where you can actually get your own test run of the income machine for zero cost. Then you'll be able to see, the newest opportunities right away when you load that up with all three income paths laid out, and you can pick whichever one best suits you. And if you like it, you can take it right from the regular brokerage account and set yourself up to target another great payout. Now, let me just remind folks, I'm not here to tell you what type of investor you are. Okay, I'm not going to give you advice on which one you should take. That's totally up to you and your own preferences, because with the income machine, you are in complete control. However, before I open up the free access today, I do want to clear that there's always risk when it comes to trading. You're not going to, even if you pick the right approach, some trades can still lose. Never risk more than you can afford. Luckily, the average trade is going to be under $200 on any given income machine setup. And don't feel like you have to play catch up with any of the other students who already banked some great returns with the income machine. Your story is just getting started. And I promise you will have plenty of opportunities, whether you want to go with the 250, the 500, you want to target $1,000 or more, as long as you're willing to be patient and let those trades come to you. Like with the very next trade, this one was on XLF, another one that a whole bunch of people got for free here in the room. Now, going into the last week of May, XLF was trending up nicely. And of course, on May 23rd, the income machine gave us the opportunity and all the different paths with all the information, the exact stock, the hold time, the break-even price, what the expected income potential would be, and even the calculated odds of success. Anyone who took the conservative approach could have set the trade with about 7.5% of buffer on that position. And when it cashed out, $247 over the next handful of days as XLF continued to move higher. With the balance approach, who have gotten about 2 times the income potential, but still had around 5% buffer room below XLF and walked away with about $548 in extra income by the end of the week. Lastly, with the aggressive approach, you actually still had 2% room on that one, and things would have worked out great. $1,176 on the aggressive approach in a matter of days.
Nate, I'm really starting to fall in love with the income machine. I've already seen so many people post in the chat too about how excited they are to get their hands on it. And I'm really wishing I had access to something like this years and years ago. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room thinking that right now. I mean, having a real chance to target $250, $500, or even $1,000 each week in all sorts of market conditions, that would make a big difference for a lot of people right now. I mean, based on the hundreds, actually thousands of stories we heard from folks writing in over the last few weeks, I think the number one concern across the board is that not having enough cash left over to save for retirement. That's because the bare necessities of life, like healthcare, food, housing, all sorts of things, are eating up all of the monthly budget, leaving millions of people feeling like they're always one step behind. But by putting the income machine in the pocket of the folks tuning in right now, giving people all over the world a legitimate shot to target 250, 500, or $1,000 each week based on their own preferred approach, well, your goal now is that they soon find themselves one step ahead with new high conviction income opportunities coming their way each and every week. Like with the one that we had here, the balanced one on April 18th, folks could have walked away, automatically cashed in for $746. Now, if you're like Douglas C., who joined today, we saw Douglas in the chat earlier
Yep.
today, maybe that's an extra $700 that could have helped cover the increasing housing costs that a lot of people have been experiencing. Or what about the next one, April 30th, the conservative play here in XLF, paid $423 by the end of the week. For people like Christine, who told us that she's excited to head into retirement, but also nervous with the loss of funds from her pension, well, that's $423 that could have relieved some of the day-to-day stress right away and maybe offered a little bit more enjoyment out of life. And we can go on and on and on, like with the one on May 1st, the aggressive play on XLI, which could have helped folks pocket $1,071 when it was all said and done. Now, if you're like Herman V, who mentioned he's retired, but wouldn't mind targeting a little extra cash to add some breathing room with the monthly expenses, well, an extra $1,000 would have been a great cushion in the wallet. Nice extra padding there. So, Nate, tell us, how can folks get in on the newest income opportunity today, this week, targeting the next 250, 500, or even $1,000 payout?
Well, if you wanted to go out there on your own and find the next income opportunity to trade, honestly, it is actually a grueling task. I'm not just saying that. You can't go blindly pick any stock or any option to make it happen, or everyone be doing it. I wouldn't have spent months and months beating my head against the wall building this tool. First off, there's countless stocks out there to filter through and find the good setup. You have to find the right stock. Now, on top of that, and much more complicated than that, there's thousands of options to click through to find, the right liquidity, premiums, and profitability to get the right risk to reward, which I think is the most important thing on each individual stock. So actually finding these types of income setups and trying to maintain a really high win rate is a little like finding a needle in a haystack. It can take hours, even days of work to find a really strong opportunity to take. And I'll be honest, even as someone who has, substantial resources at my disposal and works in the trading world full time, I still run this challenge. So I can't imagine people just trying to do this as a side hustle. Sometimes I'll find a great stock I really want to trade, and you know this, Graham. Then the options you want to trade, you just literally can't find them. They don't exist, or they don't seem to exist. Or maybe you're flipping through, 40 or 50 stocks and just literally run out of steam or run out of daylight in the day before you can pair up the right options to set you up with a trade that you really love. It's a real thing that I've struggled with for, ever since I started trading options. And I'm sure some of you have felt the same way from time to time. But that's exactly why I built the income machine for myself, because now we don't have to waste hours on hours on hours trying to find good stocks and pair them up with options. We don't have to flip through the options, chain crunching numbers until our brain hurts trying to get those right risk to rewards. Instead, with about 60 seconds of our time, we can automatically have the very best income setups in the entire market served up on a silver platter with an approach that you like best. From there, it's just a matter of clicking a few buttons to lock and load the trade, and then you're off to the races. Now, today, I'd like to hook you up with the newest income opportunity and be able to give you an opportunity immediately to access the tool. The income machine is the only tool I know of that allows folks to find consistent opportunities worth 250, 500, 1,000 bucks, whatever path you want to go down, all based on your risk preference and your desired income approach. And each and every day, you can pull up the income machine and let it do all the heavy lifting for you. When you click the link to access the online version of the income machine, you'll immediately see the top stock selected for the income opportunity for that moment. Now, I want you to rest assured that this is not just a random stock we're putting up there, not by any means. In order to be ranked as the best opportunity, it has to pass a couple very rigorous filters. It's a 5-step ranking profile that takes into consideration the 100-day trend, the 20-day trend, relative strength on a 4-hour time frame, weekly momentum, which I think is really important, and the stabilizing price action feature, which helps give you a higher degree of certainty on an income opportunity because you want stable stocks. And then each stock is compared with every other stock in the entire market to only give us the best of the best. Now, this filter is the secret sauce behind how we've been able to hit a 93.3% win rate on the income machine picks that I've shared with folks so far. Now, of course, no extra work needed on your part to find that stock. That the income machine is literally programmed to automatically run through thousands of stocks out there and then simply post the best one right there for you at the top of the list, so that all you have to do is click if you like it. From there, just a matter of picking the income approach that you like the best on that stock. Now, in this example on Meta, any of the income approaches would have played out absolutely perfectly. $340 on the conservative approach, $656 on the balanced approach, or $924 on that more aggressive approach. And let me remind you, you don't need to flip through the option chain manually either. Once the income machine runs the 5-step test to give us the, the best stock to trade, it then also automatically filters through the option chain to produce the exact criteria to take advantage of. Like I hinted at earlier, it looks for the appropriate liquidity, premiums, and profitability schedule to get that risk to reward that fits each path to the best of our ability by, combing through millions of combinations. With one click, you get all the trade details, the ticker to type in, the exact option to trade, the entry price, even the income potential at expiration. Zero guesswork whatsoever on your end. That way, if you ever felt like Bill T from Maryland, who wrote in that the number one thing that holds them back is not knowing if he's picked the optimal options, well, you literally don't have to worry about that anymore, because the income machine has it all for you. And today, my goal is to get as many new traders up and running with the income machine as possible without paying a single penny upfront to access it. Hopefully, you'll get a few dozen winning trades under your belt over the next handful of weeks, and I'll get some powerful testimonials from you too. And that way, when we do bring it back to the public, we'll have endless stories to share of member success, where we can reasonably charge a very, very premium price for what I believe is the most powerful trading tool ever built.
Well, Nate, I can't wait to hear from the members once they get their hands on the income machine here in just a few minutes. We've already heard so many good stories from your top students in the past across your various income strategies. Steve, 2 for 2, $900. Cindy B made $1,200 in a week. Deb took a trade on Meta, which you just mentioned, Meta, closed yesterday for $2,600. Richard's 5 for 5 for $4,434. And Jeff, whoa, look at Jeff, $17,000 in the last 6 months.
Yeah, well, obviously, I would like to see a few hundred more stories just like those starting today with the income machine. If you take one of the spots, I want to show you how to get there even quicker. You see, when I was putting together the final touches on the income machine, I took into consideration everything you guys sent me, because we got a monster amount of feedback. Like with Tatiana from Florida and Jackie from PA, good old shout out for PA there. They requested an easy way to check the chart before taking a trade. And if having the chart added, is important, well, I got you covered. So with every pick the income machine posts, not only will you get the, the scorecard that tells you exactly how it traded and why it traded, but it will also automatically attach a nice 30-day chart there so you can check out the chart as well. This way, you never have to feel like you're trading blindly or on a whim. You see it right there every time you set up a trade. But as great as that is, it gets even better, because after some of my, more advanced students like Dave T and Scott M wrote in, well, that's when things really started cooking with gasoline. Now, I don't think Dave and Scott know each other, at least not personally, but funny enough, they were both thinking the same exact thing. Before ever taking a trade, they want to know the risk, the likelihood of the trade working out, and ultimately how good that track record can be. Well, that's why I added this next feature, which is super cool. This is the profit matrix and the calculator. So after selecting the income approach that you want to go with, on the next page, you're going to see the exact options to take, like I've shown you many times before. Okay, now pay attention, guys, because if you're about to start using the income machine, you want to pay attention to this part, because on that same page where you get the option details, you'll also be able to see the risk to reward scenarios for the trade. You'll be able to see what happens if the stock goes up, what happens if it stays flat, and what happens if it falls, 1%, 2%, 5% over the coming days. That way, you can have even more confidence in the income opportunity and know exactly how it's going to shake out based on what happens with the stock before ever risking a single dollar of your hard-earned money. Just like the example on Microsoft, where the stock could have fallen 5% in a week and still paid. In this case, $578 by the time Friday hit. Pretty cool. Okay, but get this. This is where it gets even more fun. I also included a calculator so that you can see the investment, the income, and the ROI potential all baked right in there for every specific trade. So you can decide how many contracts you want to trade and it's going to spit out the exact information for you.
That's awesome. Nate, this is some seriously powerful stuff. And I'm not just blowing smoke here. This really might be the most valuable trading tool that I've ever seen in my 15 plus years of trading. So each day, and guys, yes, each day, you'll get the top stock to target extra income on based on the rigorous ranking criteria. In this example, March 21st, that was on AT&T. Now inside there, you'll see the chart and the 5-step scorecard. And then you'll get to select the income approach that you like best based on your style of trading, whether you're conservative, balanced, or aggressive. And then from there, you get the exact options criteria to follow along with potential ROI and income included. And if you want to take it one step further, you can simply scroll down to see the full profit matrix right there. Plus, even have a quick calculator to help you decide how many contracts you may want to take. Now, that means if you're like Rafi E from California, who says his top request is knowing exactly what I'm doing before placing a trade, well, now you'll have more than enough information right at the tip of your fingers, all done for you by the income machine, giving anyone a shot to target the next great payout, like here on AT&T, $585 without second guessing yourself. Now, Nate, I'm not sure how you can make this tool any better. And I have to say, if I personally built this tool and invested this much time and energy into it, I'd definitely be looking to have that sticker price around $5,000 per year for it. And even at that price, I think it would be worth every last penny.
Well, I totally get it. And honestly, we talked about doing the very same thing, making it a much more premium product, especially considering how much money we've already put into building the income machine and the ongoing fees to keep it running. We actually added some ongoing fees today. I'm sure we definitely could charge $5,000, maybe even more for access to the income machine. But today, it's not about me. It's not about our team. It's all about the folks tuning in right now that we've been, leading up to this, giving them an opportunity to try the income machine, giving you exactly what you need to start targeting 250, 500 bucks, $1,000, maybe 12, 1,300, depending on the setup, with just a couple clicks of the mouse. Now, my team is set to drop that link in just about 2 minutes to give you free access for, the next 30 days. But before we do that, there's one more bonus I'd like to add in. I had a ton of folks like Jeremy from Huntington Beach reach out who are very excited to get started, but would like to have more training, especially with options. So here's what I decided to do. To help you hit the ground running, I put together a brand new updated Getting Started with Options training pack, which includes how the option selection works, how to generate these trades in your own brokerage, how to get the right order, how to get filled, lots of other stuff. And it also covers those automated exits, which a lot of people ask me about if you want to set a target. But that's not all. Over the coming days and the coming weeks, I'm going to be hosting dozens of live trade rooms for the income machine members, walking you through the tool step by step, taking some of the income setups live with you on camera, real money trades, so that you can look over my shoulder and follow along if you want to. And I'll even say as long as I need to answer every single question you have about the income machine, how the stock selection works, why I sometimes am more aggressive, sometimes am more conservative, all that kind of stuff during those live sessions, which are going to be so important.
Well, Nate, this is outstanding. And I'm sure the students will love the chance to sit down with you in this group setting as you walk them through the income machine and the trades. Now, I've seen some financial experts charge around $497 per session for these live sort of trade rooms. And as you said, you're not going to do one, not two, but dozens over the coming weeks. And these will be the exact same kind of live trades that you've been giving out in recent weeks, where you've hit with that 93% accuracy and $9,796 so far in the model portfolio. So this alone is worth about $5,000. Is it going to cost extra to get these sessions?
Nope, not going to cost a single penny for anyone who tries the income machine. Now, shouldn't shock folks that with the income machine, it was not cheap to get this tool up and running. We had to hire actually multiple outside programmers, one who was an expert in artificial intelligence to make this happen. Plus, we have to, pay all those data feeds to get all the different options data in there. We actually have a whole separate development team on the data side that we had to pay as well. And that doesn't even take into account the months and months of intensive work that me and others have put in there to get this thing built for me and then ultimately for you guys as well. Truthfully, if someone wanted to do this on their own, they'd easily rack up $25,000, probably a good bit more in coding fees just to get to anything even close to what we have with the income machine today. So honestly, I don't just think $49.95 would be reasonable. I think it would be an absolute steal just based on what we've put into it already. I know what I've personally put into it. But my goal isn't to get the maximum value out of this. It's to give folks a legitimate chance to target, at 250, 500, 1,000 bucks on a repeatable basis based on what they choose with those different paths. So here is what we're going to do. we are going to officially give you guys a chance to access the entire income machine for free for 30 days. We'll drop that link here in 1 second. You'll get all the goodies that we talked about. It's all included. It's not like a stripped down version. You get everything with the income machine, including all the trade opportunities that pop up over the next month. Again, free for the next 30 days, no hidden fees. You don't even have to put a credit card in to start that 30-day process. No strings attached whatsoever. My hope is that you instantly fall in love with it, which I think you will, and you start targeting that income that you deserve. And after you see the benefit of it, I assume every single person is going to want to upgrade to the full year once the trial is up. Now, like I mentioned, my team wanted me to charge $49.95 a year for that upgrade, but I'm not even going to charge half of that amount. First off, cutting the price immediately in half to make the income machine a lot more reasonable for the average Joe, taking it down to $24.95 a year after that 30-day trial. And then on top of that, we're offering an extra $500 credit as a live webinar discount for anyone who joins that 30-day access from here, which makes it only $19.95 per year to access the income machine. And honestly, I mentioned this earlier. I think $19.95 per year, if the income machine after 30 days is as good as I say it is, I think it's the most no-brainer price ever. I mean, you guys can give me a yes in the chat. If the income machine delivers like I think it will, and like I've shown you so far, with high accuracy, consistent new opportunities to target 250, 500, 1,000 bucks every day, please tell me that you'd happily pay $19.95 a year, because I personally think it's worth 50 times that amount just based on what I've already seen and and the work I've done. So that's what the deal is, to make it an absolute no-brainer after 30 days. Give yourself, $19.95 a year once it's proven the incredible value that it is. And like I said, I think we can all agree that's more than fair, especially considering what we've already done with, 93.3% win rate and $9,796 without compounding, just $2,500 into each trade. So again, hopefully, and I saw, thank you everyone for your yeses. I agree. $19.95, I think, is an incredible opportunity. And once your 30-day free pass is up, you can get an entire year at that discounted rate. However, drum roll please. However, if you've already liked what you see and you want to upgrade today, you want to get your hands on it right now and go all in, it actually won't even be close to $19.95, because we did something absolutely crazy for the people who want to go all in right off the bat. You see, once my team posts a link in the chat in the next 30 seconds, you're going to go in, like I said, no credit card required, get your free pass locked in. Do not close the next page. It's going to ask for your name and your email, your phone number, no credit card required. You're going to click yes to get your 30-day trial. It's going to take you to a next page. Do not close that next page, because on that next page, there's an offer to go ahead and upgrade today and save $1,000 off the income machine. If you're already convinced that you love the income machine like I do, you can do that on the very next page. So it won't be $19.95 a year. Instead, it will only run you $995 for an entire year of what I think is the best tool ever created for the stock market. And just to make it super duper, totally crazy rewarding for everyone who wants to take action now, I'm actually going to throw in an extra entire year on the house for the income machine, which means when you upgrade, you go to that next page, you can unlock 2 years of access to the income machine for one payment of $995. I literally sound silly saying that out loud based on what we put into this. Now, I'll even add the 30 days on top of your membership just as a sign of good faith if you want to go ahead and upgrade today. So you'll still get your 30 days on top of that. But this is a one-time offer, guys. This is only available on that next page, okay? We're not doing this for people who try it. It's totally fine if you want to try it, no pressure. But the special, crazy, ridiculous deal is only available if you want to go ahead and say, yep, I'm in. Let's go for it. And if you say no thanks, again, no problem. Try it out. Let me know if you love it. But of course, you'll pay a little more down the road. That's just part of the offer today. No pressure, just how it works. So if you're ready to be one of the first in the world to unlock the income machine for yourself, now's the time to jump on in. Go ahead, click that link in the chat. That's going to give you the opportunity right there. Again, no credit card required, but on that next page, if you want to take advantage of what I think is the most ridiculous deal we've ever done, $995 for 2 years on this monster of a machine, you can do that right immediately on that next page. prosperitypub.com/INC. That's where you're going to get access to the free opportunity and also where you can join on the next page. So here's the deal, guys. The special offer, we've been building up to this for months, free for 30 days. Use that pass. Love it. Enjoy it. Hopefully hit lots of winning trades. You do have to give me your feedback. Okay. If you take advantage of the 30-day free, you at least have to tell me if you're winning trades. And then instead of doing the $19.95, if you want, you can go $9.95 and get 2 years of access right now, today, with the craziest discount that we will obviously ever have on the income machine.
Nate, I have to say this offer is absolutely stacked. I know people are stoked. I'm pumped. Now, each day you'll get the top income opportunity in the market selected by the fully automated system running the 5-step test on each and every stock out there. And with each pick, you'll get the choice to pick the income approach that fits you best. I'm an aggressive guy. So I would have clicked aggressive and I would have seen the exact options that I could take right there listed for me, plus the price to enter and the potential payout. And that gives folks a great shot to cash in if it all works out, just like here on this Visa example, $1,231. Plus, you also get the profit matrix and calculator, which shows you the risk to reward scenarios for that trade. If the stock goes up, what happens? If it stays flat, what happens? What if the stock falls? Do I still get paid? Well, in some scenarios, yes. And if you're newer to trading options, don't worry. You get the Getting Started with Options guide, which walks you through a whole bunch of good information to get going with options. And you'll also get that live trade room included, where Nate will be hosting dozens of live trade rooms for the Income Machine members, walking through the tool step by step and even taking some trades with you. Now, remember, this is important. Once the 30-day trial is up, the price is set to $19.95 per year. So if you wait 30 days and you lose your access, it'll say you want to upgrade $19.95 per year, which I think we can all agree is a great deal. However, there's going to be a special offer to go ahead and upgrade right now today to the full year and save $1,000 instantly. Meaning if you upgrade today, it's not $19.95, it's only $9.95 for the year. Plus, to make it even easier for you, Nate's also throwing in an extra year on the house. That means when you upgrade today, on that next page, you can unlock 2 full years of access to the Income Machine for one payment of $9.95. And we'll even add in the extra 30 days of free membership on too, as a sign of good faith. But I have to warn you, this is a one-time offer. It's a $9.95 2-year special that's only available on that next page. And if you say no thanks or click away from the page, you will be left to pay more down the road, which no harm, no foul there. But if you want to go ahead, save some money right now. If you're already all in on this like I am, do yourself a favor and upgrade today. $9.95 for 2 years. Oh, we got a surprise bonus, Nate. What do we got?
Well, this is the thing that, like I said, we have so much to cover here. I know people were getting antsy waiting for us to give us the action to get in, but we literally had so much to cover. We still haven't covered it all. So originally, the idea, like the examples Graham and I shared, were one opportunity a day. But I went ahead and made a pretty massive upgrade myself, which is where actually every day you'll get 3 different stocks that you can choose income opportunities from. So you have even more flexibility to pick the very best one. You know, maybe one's an energy stock, one's a healthcare stock, one's a tech stock. Each one are going to be up there and you can get different income opportunities on each. So it's really like getting 9 different opportunities every single time you load up the Income Machine. Now, we originally planned on separating this out, 2 or 3 more opportunities, charge more, all that good stuff. We might still do that. It might be $39.95 or $49.95. And like I said, I feel pretty comfortable. It's worth every penny at that. But here's one little fun bonus for you. If you upgrade to the 2-year deal today, you will actually get grandfathered in to the newest version of the Income Machine for free. Okay, so you get grandfathered into that bigger, more robust version for free, meaning starting today, you can get up to 3 income signals, options criteria included from the Income Machine each day. And even if we do launch at that higher price, you won't pay an extra penny for that, what we call the Pro version. You'll be grandfathered in completely, no questions asked, not an extra penny, which is all the more reason, hopefully, to take one of those 2-year upgrade spots today so that your 30-day trial doesn't run out and you don't lose out on that special access, which you get the Pro version baked in automatically. So I hope you take full advantage of that. Again, no harm, no foul if you just want to try the 30-day pass. But if you want to get that crazy, goofy, unbelievable deal, then do that on the thank you page, $9.95 for 2 years, and you'll actually be locking in the Pro version of the Income Machine as well. Or you can always call 904-706-3537. Just let them know you're on the webinar, and they can help you get it locked in as well.
Nate, I can't wait to hear from the students once they get rolling with the Income Machine today. Again, we had over 600 people Over 600 people take the 30-day free pass. I think
Crazy.
quite a few upgraded from there, and we've already heard so many stories from your top students following your strategies in the past. I love it. Carlos' account has grown almost $5,000. I love it. Linda says that you're a great teacher. Account is growing. Can't wait to do more trades. Beverly says up $6,000 in about 10 weeks. Betty, 444 on the wins. Love that it's easy to place and good for small accounts. Roger here, unbelievable, taking all the trades. I had $18,620. Deborah here says she wants to say thank you. Made $12,000 from your live sessions. Again, you guys are going to get involved in those live sessions too, and many, many more top stories. Now, today, the journey continues. It continues with you right now. Click that link in the chat to get started. Again, free 30-day pass for everyone. When you click that link, it'll ask for your first name, last name, email, phone number. Hit enter, you're done. You get the 30-day pass. On that next page, that's where you're going to want to upgrade to get that 2-year access for about 75% off what we're going to be listening for here at the end of that 30-day period.
Yeah, well, this says there's one more thing I'd like to mention. There's probably more than one more thing I'd like to mention because there's just so much to say about the income machine. But customer support live is also available to you guys. So if you have questions, you want to go through, hey, am I doing this right? Does this look right? They, of course, have access to the income machine. They can walk you through it. They are live 3 hours a day for you guys on customer support live. So take full advantage of that as well, just to make sure you have all the information you need. Again, they have access to the income machine. They can help you there as well. Now, I'm sure, and I already saw it in the chat, the big question we always get, is there a lifetime option? Well, not only is there a lifetime option, guys, we went crazy. Income machine is the best lifetime option in the history of our company, bar none. I have no doubt saying that. Wait till you see what we did. Okay, so here's what we did for the lifetime. If you're one of the folks who go ahead and get the 2-year deal, well, on the next page, it's going to say, hey, do you want lifetime access? Now, again, no obligation, no pressure. But if you want lifetime access with no renewal fees ever again, that means you won't pay anything over the year or the next year or the next year. You secure lifetime access for less than what the annual fee is going to be going forward. But that's not even the best part. The next part is huge. Listen up. This is where it gets crazy. Lifetime members will also get access to what I call the unfiltered version, the VIP version of the income machine. This was the version that was supposed to only be for me, hidden behind the scenes. But the VIP members are going to get it where you can enter any stock you like. Okay, so regular pro members won't get this. This is only for the VIP members where you can actually, not only will you see like the top 20 opportunities, you will also be able to type in any stock you like. You'll get the conservative, the balanced, and the aggressive approaches without having to dig through them yourself. But this unfiltered access is only available if you're a lifetime member. So if you think about this, it's amazing because not only can you look at stocks you like and then let the income machine sort through millions of option combinations to find the best trades on stocks you like, you can even take other strategies. Like I give you a trade on opening playbook. You go punch in an income machine. It's going to sort through all the millions of combinations and spit out those trades for you or other services. The income machine is going to become your best friend if you're a VIP member because you can go in here and find new opportunities. So again, the first step, obviously, you got to lock in that 2-year deal.